All right, let me see here,
Oh,
and let's dig into the April 16th. You got to remember, man, it's the day after taxes, right? So at the end of the day, you have that entire scenario, right? I think people what they forget is where we came from inside of the market itself. You know what I mean? Like there's only so much money
yeah.
inside of a market. You know what I mean?
Excuse me, are you sharing now or?
Yeah, I'm going to be sharing in a second. What I'm doing here is I'm
Okay.
streaming right now, so I'm just getting everything squared away. All right, let's share our screen here.
But
Let's,
it's crazy. A small move of Bitcoin just collapse all altcoins. I mean, my all altcoins are like shit now,
so
and my shit coins, my shit coins are like more like shit.
yeah, you have to you got to remember that. So okay, I think the thing is kind of just understanding the financial backing of what we're dealing with here. I don't think a lot of people cover the basis of a crypto market, right? A crypto market is the same as a stock exchange or any type of business, right? And when you're investing in something, there's also depending on the markets that you're in, right? If you're in the Asian market, then you know that the yen has to be strong. If you're in the Russian market, the ruble needs to be strong. If you're in the American exchange, you need the dollar to be strong. And I think what happens is people just forget that, because crypto has coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. I think everyone just kind of, just overall forgets how what we're in. This is, everyone's like, oh, it's crypto. It's not. It's not. It's not a stock exchange. It's not an asset, right? You need to stop lying to yourself. This is an asset. Okay, it operates as an asset. So what you have to do is understand that we're going to be in a situation where everything has an underlying market. Okay, so you can think of Bitcoin as America, Solana as Asia, uh, Ethereum as Russia, or whatever. And at the end of the day, these are what we call underlying assets, right? And underlying assets simply means that the stock, the um, the asset is built connected to this asset, right? It also is why you want to build your coins on the right asset. Now, for me, purely for me, I would never build the coin on Bitcoin, is because Bitcoin can only do a 10x, right? Like if it does anything, it'll go to 600,000, right? That's a 10x, right? And what that means is that if it's my underlining asset, like a dollar, a yen, or a rub, it's basically um, it would move my coin or my stock or my company is based on that particular country, right? So Bitcoin's country's money would have to be something worth it, right? If you do Ethereum, it's a 10x as well. If you do Solana, you have a possibility, now that it's at the 100 mark, now it's at a 10x. And I would be building on these cryptocurrencies that you know um, that can handle the movement, but also give me a solid underlining asset, right? So right now you have. Let's take a look at the exchanges and the currencies and the rankings. What you're dealing with here is the moment where you can see here on the circulating supply, Bitcoin is pretty much done. And so the bigger moves or the moves that have velocity or jumps to it on Bitcoin are over. So Bitcoin's going to have to start earning its percentage and start working up the hill properly, right? That's kind of the way it is because its circulating supply is at 93, right? So that means there's only 7% left. It's going to take a very, it's going to move, slowly like lava, right? When you look at Ethereum, We don't have the circulating supply on there, which is kind of scary. Because at the end of the day, they can mint as much as they want and slow down Ethereum's progress on there. Then you move down to what we have here, which is XRP. Right now, XRP is in a scenario where it's only at 55% of its circulating supply, but you also have to understand that 45% of it is basically held in an escrow, right? So theoretically, XRP has 50% of its market out there. So in theoretically, that's 100% of the supply. So XRP is probably not going to move as crazy as people think it should move because the supply is already out there, right? The whole supply is already out there. Now, Doge is a perfect example of what's going to happen to these coins when they get to 100%. Doge is the coin that's continuing to mint. So if you're building a coin on Dogecoin, then you have to be aware that Dogecoin is going to stay very steady as an underlying asset. It's probably not going to give you too much movement on the upper side simply because it's constantly minting. So it's constantly going down, right? And you can look at something like Cardano, it's at 80%. So if you build on Cardano, you're pretty much almost at 100. Anytime you get to 85 or 90%, that's where we call it a investment opportunity, where whatever you're buying at that time, its value is basically at its peak, meaning that they can't really dump on you or knock down the value of your neighborhood of your house because it's at its top 80, 85, 90%. So the value of that coin you buy is going to pretty much sustain its position on the overall. But it also means that you're not going to get leaps and ability to make nice gains as if it only had 30% of its circulating supply out there. Because think of it as, let's say there's 100 people all holding one coin, and you go to a table every Saturday to collect your residual. And in the beginning, only 7 of the coins are allowed to collect money. So let's say 7 out of the 100 people. So 7% of circulating supply is out there. We 7 people show it at the table. They get their 1%, and then it keeps going around, and they get another percent because they have 93% of the circulating supply isn't showing up on that day. So you get to split those profits with the other 7 people. So those 7 people get to share 97% of the money, right? As people start to circulate supply grows, when it gets from 7 people to 50 people, now 50 people are sharing the 100% of the pie. So now you're only going to get 2 shares versus when there was only 7% of the circulating supply, which gave you 12 shares. So now you're getting 2 shares because 50% is out there. But once you get to the 80s and 90s, you just get your slice of the pie, which is, a small slice depending on the market cap. So once the market cap is pretty much filled and the circulating supply is up in the higher ranges, then you're in a situation where you're not making as much as you like. Now, a coin that we should be looking at to get more gains out of at this particular time when it goes on lows is a coin like Avalanche. Avalanche is sitting at 52%. So that means we can get an extra 25 to 35% on our money that we invest on these dips because it has that circulating supply that is not out there yet. And it's going to get to 80, which means about 30% to 35, maybe even 40, that we're going to get that extra piece of that pie. So instead of just getting one slice of pie, we get a slice plus, 40% of another slice, right? So it's like getting a nice little extra incentive here, right? So you got to realize that when you're building these coins, if you're building a project, normally you want to build on a project that is going to have an underlining asset that is going to be worth money, right? And, at the end of the day, that's why Solana and the meme coins kind of, blew up. And you can see right here, this was an example of what happens inside the market when a coin or an underlining asset, such as a Solana, which is a chain, becomes the hot chain, right? We all know Solana is worth about 120 $20. That's how much it should have gone to. But because it became a hot chain, it was increased up to 200 and some dollars, 205, 210, and it actually did an extra 100% gain on itself because of the market using it, right? So that's how quick the market cap can be adjusted to another coin or an underlying asset, right? And the problem is Solana isn't wasn't built, or it's a beta actually. It wasn't built or ready to take on these scenarios. And this is where we need to reach out to Sam and the guys over at Solana and say, hey, we're here, we're in the crypto network and we'd love to support you, Sam, but at the end of the day, where we at with this beta? Like, we can't. What's this congestion about? We've been here since 2014, right? So why are we still waiting on figuring out how to make this work? I mean, I don't know about you, but since 2017, we've been ready to go. And 2021 was a perfect example of crypto's going to explode. So where is the money that you're selling your Solana coins for? Where is the development for this coin? Why every single time there's an explosion in your beta, you can't handle it? That's the question we need to be asking to these coins, and say, hey, listen, if you want to be in this game and take all this money out of the network and eat up hundreds of millions of dollars, then build some shit that works. Like, why are we constantly dealing with backup and can't handle this, can't do this? It's just annoying, right? And those are the moments that we have to realize that we're still in the garage, but these guys shouldn't be taking such big chunks out of the whole market if they can't build what they need to build. And we need to hold these coins accountable for building the ecosystem that we want. Otherwise, they should step aside and let get some more developers in here, because eventually we're going to get a coin that can do what it's supposed to do. And right now, I mean, honestly, as we kind of break it down, I mean, look at Polkadot, right? So Polkadot has what, the 100 slots they have for their project. They want to build on their 100 slots, right? Polkadot's sitting here. It's about $6. But I don't trade anything on Polkadot, right? So I trade everything on BNB, on Solana. I don't trade anything on Ethereum. But now that Ethereum has found a way to be productive with Coinbase, with Base, it's using Ethereum's smart contracts and Ethereum's securities to be able to trade with lower fees, which is very interesting right now because that opens the door to what they're trying to do, which is corner the market and make Ethereum the go to coin as an underlying asset, as far as smart contracts, building things that can pay people out in contracts without having a middleman, et cetera, et cetera. So those are good for contracts for real estate, music, art, NFTs, and so forth. Solana needs to step its game up. And what I like to see is I'd like to see Avalanche step its game up, become more dominant, because Avalanche has multiple uh, roads on their coin. So the developers can have their own road and not be held up during a breakdown, because they can still move on the backside of Avalanche while everybody else is trading on C channel, right? So Avalanche has multiple channels that Avalanche Coin can move on and allow the developers to continue to fix their problems, while the retail investors are on the front side, not being bogged down, and the developers can fix and repair Avalanche a lot faster, which is a good ideal for Avalanche. That's what I think puts them ahead of everybody else. So the question is right now, I think when you were kind of looking at it, is like, so for me, Max, when you say, like, your question is like, all your meme coins are bleeding, right? So what are you seeing right now?
Well, I see that the actually Solana meme coins. What I see is the old coins, even though there are many people holding it, they are not pumping.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, new coins come in, and very quickly, like 1,000 people holding it, or 3,000 people holding it in just one day.
Mm-hmm.
If you look right now in yeah, in the uh, I recall it, the Dex tool,
Mm-hmm.
and you see there are like yeah, 1,000% or 60,000%,
Mm-hmm.
and many people holding it. So that means people are moving to new coins. People
Right.
don't stick with old coins.
Right. Because that's not the game. So what do I say like every single time I tell you guys what do we teach? Right? I told you we don't teach trading inside
Profit.
the academy.
Hmm.
We teach taking profits, right?
Yeah,
It's because you're inside of a market that is completely based on trends, right? And I think you were talking about how the coins
yeah,
are holding their position, but they're not pumping. Well, it's hard to pump when a underlining asset is going down, right? So let's say that people are selling their
yeah,
Solana coin to buy the meme coin, right?
yeah,
Well, if I take $1 from Paul to pay Peter, isn't it the same hand? So when you sell your Solana coins to buy a Solana meme coin, you're taking from the underlying asset to buy the connected asset. The same money. The only thing you're doing is giving yourself a
yeah,
better opportunity to make money because holding a meme coin with a a lower supply or like a circulating supply gives you the opportunity to go up quicker than holding Solana because Solana needs a lot more money to go up, right? And on the overall, the market's already, it's April 15th. It's tax time, right? So this market will be dead until April 22nd, right? Until everybody figures out paying their taxes off, getting what they need done, and moving to the next section. So that's kind of like the basic of, this is a normal trading cycle. So to me, this looks like just another normal year of trading, whether it's stocks, bonds, or crypto. You're not going to get out of a trading cycle because traders have bills, right? Tax season is the same every year. The recovery from tax season takes about 7 days, and then we see a nice little pump for 3 weeks, and that's the summer pump, and then from there we'll close out the market and see another slow bleed, right? And what we're looking for here is, we've never been here before where we've actually had baby boomers in the market. So you can tell by Grayscale. Grayscale is bleeding right now. If you go there, I guarantee you they're bleeding on um, their ETFs for Bitcoin because their fees are too high. And even the slowest baby boomer, which they are slow, to make. I mean, we have 40% of U.S. money needed someone to hold their hand, like a child to teach them how to buy a wallet to buy Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know how baby boomers got so much money when they can't even figure out how to open up a wallet. I mean, come on. You log on, you buy a wallet, you add money from your bank, and you buy Bitcoin. You didn't need a bank to do it for you. And now you're paying all these fees, which are completely the reason why we are getting into cryptos because we don't want fees. But I mean, we need the baby boomers to come over here and put some liquidity and, bring in a section here where we have the ability to see money come in. But it's just funny to me that, you could be 65 years old and need someone to hold your hand on how to buy something. It's kind of ridiculous. But needless to say, they're here now. And the question is, are they going to, stay here, hold their position, et cetera, et cetera? And, for me, I think they are. I think they're um, in a good position to where they feel like, they made their money. Now you got to remember also you're dealing with people that only make um, 10% per year, 20% on their entire bag, maybe 25, maybe 30, right? I mean, well, they're all hedge funds guys. So at the end of the day, they make 10% on their bag every single year, and they're happy with 10% on their 300,000 or their million and a half or whatever the hell they got. And if they've just made 60% on Bitcoin ETFs or minimum 40%. That's 4 years of profits in a year. So if you're a baby boomer, You just thought you think you're the greatest thing on earth. You think you're the apple pie. You're like sliced bread.
Mhm.
You're like, oh man, I got into Bitcoin, guys. I made 40%. I mean, that's a joke. I mean, we make 40% a trade. Baby boomers are slow. They're holding up the entire economy
Yeah.
with holding on to their money, and now they want to pay fees to the bank and create a damn 40% of America making the banks important again, saying, "Hey, baby boomers need us, but we don't." So we could just move the baby boomers to the side and say, "Hey, we understand you're old and you don't know how to ask your 40-year-old son how to buy Bitcoin, but we need you to step aside, son. Let the real money in." And this is where people have to understand, like, get your wallets, get your Bitcoin. They're celebrating their 20 to 30 to 40% on their ETFs. It's the greatest thing they've ever done since sliced bread. And they're going to take that. They're going to take at least
Mhm.
half of it because why not? Or at least 30% or I would take 30% and leave the 10 in there because they still have their normal trading patterns, but they're going to celebrate a little here. It's the first time they're popping champagne. So at the end of the day, what we need to see is you have to start to realize, Max, that when I'm listening, I hear you guys and you're like, "Oh, we're bleeding. We're at Bitcoin's at $63,000. Like, are we bleeding? Like when we're still up here. Like we're sitting at 64,000. And this is
Yeah,
after
but
taking a dip.
how it touched, uh, yeah, but how it touch the altcoins? That's crazy because most of us are on altcoins, and that's
Yeah, but
like you
that's
see, Solana was 200, now it's 130.
yeah, but you got to remember that, so the you're right because you were looking for altcoin season, right? And altcoin season, I mean, Solana was $70 at one point. It went to 200. Was that not enough altcoin season for you?
Yeah, but I didn't, I didn't catch it to get out of the trades because that's why a bit down on my spot positions.
Yeah, I mean, we normally like we always, we stress that, we have a really good trading session from January to March, which are longs. After March, we look for the
Yeah,
the pullbacks and we just follow the trend. Right? This year is a little bit different because what we're really hoping for is we're hoping for the stability of the baby boomers to hold their positions and keep Bitcoin above $55,000, which would, start
but
to bring a little more action because you got to remember the baby boomers, even though you've seen the market cap of crypto go from 1.7 to 2.7, you got to realize that the baby boomers are only ETFs, right? So they're not buying Solana. That was retail investors, right? Retail investors aren't buying $50,000 Bitcoin. Okay, retail investors are cheap. They bought Solana, and after they bought Solana, they sold
if you
Solana.
look into the chart of Bitcoin, even if on daily, if you look at the volume, phew, there is a big gap between the price line and the volume. So it it is screaming that it will dump more.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Well, you have, okay, that's what I mean. Like it's there's a lot of money already made. Right? Remember, that's why, we don't teach trading, we teach taking profits, right? And the reason why is because there's always an end to the money, right? I mean, the you have to start realizing that every market has a cap, right? There's only so much money in hedge funds. There's only so much money in stocks. There's only so much money in all these little areas, gold, silver, and all that. And once it hits its threshold, which is we're kind of, I mean, sheesh, we had a 2.9 market cap in crypto in the middle of a recession where most companies are still laying people off. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's unbelievable. It's a huge, huge opportunity. Making money there and really like growing at that section. So it was massive. Look at this. I told you guys how to play this 15-minute. Look at this. Oh, nasty. But it's like it's a huge moment to um to see the growth of the network, because remember the baby boomers are coming in, but they're only here for the Bitcoin ETF. We might
Mm.
get a shock to the system. When is Ethereum's ETF supposed to come out? April,
So I
May,
heard
right? May
some
12th.
people saying May,
Yeah,
yeah,
May 20th.
in May, but
Yeah. So at the end of the
there is,
day,
I think, no date.
yeah. So at the end of the day, um, hold on. So at the end of the day, we're coming down to the section where um, which was kind of weird to me that Ethereum asked to have their ETF on the in the middle of May, which is also the downside of May, right? Now normally we always have a crash, or a not a crash, but it's a summer bleed, because at the end of the day, there's no there's normally no money in you got to remember. So we have March, and then April's Easter, and then Easter goes into May, which is May weddings, and then graduations in May start May 15th, May 12th. Then we go into June weddings, then summertime travel, right? People want that. People want to enjoy their summer, so they're not going to be investing in stocks, real estate, or anything like that, or crypto, because they're spending money elsewhere, right? They're not thinking about being rich. They're thinking about being tan, right? So that's the one thing that people, as a whole, if everybody dug in and got excited about making money, then we'd have an incredible year. I mean, that's kind of like uh, the end of the day. That's what we'd be looking at. So um, that's that's kind of like the whole thing in there. So we still have to see what this new ETFs bring, because the ETFs for Ethereum are going to be in a situation where um, if the ETF for Ethereum comes in at the middle of May or the end of May, that's normally the end of the summer market. That's where we start having a nice downslide. So is that going to have the downslide and then people buy into the ETF in June and start that next push up, a month earlier? Because normally the summer ends around July 21st and we start to move to the top. So having the ETF a month, in May, that might kick off people investing in crypto in June 20th instead of July 20th. And that would open up a bigger scenario for us to, see, the whole turning, right? Which makes it even better, because then we can see that June, July, August, September run till October, and then the sell off into the end of October for the Black Friday, gotta buy Christmas gifts, and then the November December decline, and then January comes in with another big push. So is it going to kick that off to where it kind of like moves a little bit better on that side? That's what we're going to see here. But so far, right now, we're in the same scenario where the cycle is just doing what it's doing, guys. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
So right now, guys, we're just in a situation where um, we're just playing out the normal flow. Now, we should expect a nice pump until May 15th, May 12th area like that. The recovery, the last hurrah before the dip. But other than that, I mean, the market looks normal, right? So let's take a look at Bitcoin, right? So you're saying, what are you looking at, the daily? What are you looking at, Max? The daily? Let me see here. So far it looks like. It looks like it's.
But if you look into the daily and
Mm-hmm.
then look into the volume indicator,
Mm-hmm.
then it's very unusual that it will not make a green moon again in the daily to get a green moon. Ooh, no, the volume is going out.
So you think on the
So
daily
the
we're
dump
not.
will
So you think this won't get a green moon?
no no, yeah. See how far they are. See how far. How could they get and volume is getting out.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
Do you
got
see
you know
before
it's got time.
got time about the the halving? What's the halving? 22 April.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they should they got I think even 48K will be possible.
From right, but look
I
at
mean,
your
if
daily.
it's slow bleeds,
Look at your daily RSI though. Like that thing
that's
is.
crossed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's headed up right there. So there's one last hurrah. Now we reject off the 20 line, right? We could see that movement from there, but we have one more hurrah here. Um,
Yeah.
it's already crossed over. Now, if it was going
Do you
flat,
think?
I would say like we're in a bad position. But not only that, like take a look at the money
Ah,
line. See, the money line already bounced right there. So the only thing you're looking at here
yeah,
is
yeah.
you
Okay,
got
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 7 days before you see this, and then all you need is just to come down a little bit in this zone here. So probably about a week away, which would what, the 23rd, so 423.
23rd.
And
Okay.
now the most like what you have to really pay attention to is the value, right? And that's where right here, you see how the volume is, it came up, rejected, came down, and now it's pushing up again. And this is where it's starting to consolidate, right? It's just consolidating on the backside. Now, when you look at the daily, right, let's go to the weekly just to kind of an overall. The weekly on the overall has a pull down coming in, right? So here's the weekly, that was the top. The weekly was the top. All right. And that's where we were
Yeah.
calling out that 73 area, right? The weekly was topped right there. Now, the next move to the weekly was basically gave us our 73 line. That's why we have this original piece here. But, now you say, all right, let's take a look at this and do an overall, right? So what do we have here? So we had a daily come in on the 11th, and let's see what the last time we had a move down, right, was January 8th, and that took it to the 8th to the 29th, so 20 days, right? So now here we have the working on March 11th, so we'd be looking at 30-day runoff here, which is kind of where we're at right now. Right, so let's see here. This was January 8th. We had a pullback until January 29th. About 20 days. Here we go, March 11th. 20 days would be the 1st of April. All right, and that continued with the volume push, and that's where we seen this dip here. So we could say 20 days from the 8th right? So I'd be looking here for the 28th of April, right, which is about, I'd say the 24th, 26th, 23rd is probably where we're going to see the difference here. So we could take that 20 days from that push down in this zone here, and we can look for a 20-day pullback, which is where we're at right now, right? Now, the difference is from this point here, is kind of where we're at here. That's January 22nd to the 5th, right? So what's that? 10 days. So yeah, about 10 days. We got the 22nd, 8 days to the 30, 31st. So about 12 days. Yeah, we're in the same scenario, about a 12-day to see this actually reverse. So if you got a 12-day scenario, you're looking at 26, 27. So about the 27th, this should come down to probably the 20 line, I would say. This is probably going to come down here, hit the 20 line, and start to move back up. Give its last hoorah. That'll be about the 20th. And then we have, what's that, 28th. So that'll give us 2 weeks, which would get us to probably about this area here. Because remember, just like any coin, there has to be highs and then lower highs. You see what I'm saying? So here's a high. There has to be a bounce. I don't know how high that bounce is going to be, but there has to be a bounce before it goes back down. And that's where we're at
Yeah.
right
So,
now.
so right now it it got a support on 61K, and then okay, market US market is also expecting some earnings, maybe Nvidia and other ones,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that earning, maybe dump.
Oh, for sure. That's the normal. Like, and come, that's what I'm saying. Come May 15th, May 12th. I mean, May 12th is the end of the movement. So May 12th, we should have a downward movement. So if we have, let's see where May 12th is here. So here's May, we'll say May. This is where the market comes down. All right. We can even say the Ethereum ETF pushes us to May 20th. But this is where we come down. So what I
Uh-huh.
would expect is I would expect one more hoorah from this lower area. Probably not up to the 73, but I'd say maybe 71 again, something like that. And then we'll close out with the normal pullback, and then that is where you can see the support and resistance. And I mean, you could, this is what you're talking about, 42, but I mean there's some heavy support in the areas. um,
48 maybe.
yeah, I mean you have a
50K
36 in
48.
here, you have a 42, and then you have a nice little spot in here that can show some support around 44. The bigger areas, that haven't held well is 48. So I mean, I don't see 48 as really being a support. I see more like 44. But I mean, the key here
Okay.
is to realize, how much. Look at how much volume you have, right? This has to come down,
Yeah.
right? So to even for this, right, this part here, to get where it's going, right? You can measure this out if you want. Here's your peak where you're at here. That's literally the top over here, and this particular move was about 83, right? So we go over here. Let's factor in this same move, and let's say we're in here, and let's say that we go for a 60 on there, right? So let's bump this up to about 55, right? So that's where the 44 becomes the more relevant target here for this. So we can see this pull
Okay,
back to
okay.
44. So that's half of
Wow.
that bigger pullback that happened. What month was that?
Damn.
May 12th.
That's the moment that we need to sell our kidneys.
Yes.
Cool.
So that's that move right there. So I mean, this is typically we have an 80% pullback, but now we have the under, like the beginning of the conversation was altcoins going down and not going up is because the underlining asset is Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. So if Bitcoin can hold the market up because it's the first massive underlining asset. It's literally like, well, that's why they say Bitcoin is gold. Is where the reason why they say Bitcoin is gold is not because it's gold. It's because in the crypto market, it is the underlining asset of our money, meaning that it represents the liquidity. And you know, unfortunately, it's not a material that can be sold for jewelry, teeth, equipment, technology, and it doesn't bring in other revenue through different companies that need gold for jewelry, computer parts, etc., etc. It's just crypto, so it only has one stream of income, and unfortunately, that stream is a very small market of the world, right? But now that we have some baby boomer cash over here, we've got another section of the market coming in here. So, are we going to see an 80% pullback? That's the question. I mean, we're definitely going to pull back 40% because I think the baby boomers are responsible for at least 40% of this last pump. So I would say that we have to take in consideration that 80% of them are going to not sell out completely. So their 40% is probably probably only going to go down half. Baby boomers. But that's kind of like the scenario. So I can see a pullback to 44. That would be normal.
Yeah.
That would be the normal market pulling their 40% or their 80% out, right? And if baby boomers, panic or have paper hands, then we could see a solid 42. But I mean, honestly, the buck stops at 36,000, and I think at that point, if I think because of the derivative market, because of the halvening and miners, I think miners have to sell um, at at this position just to make the money that they need to continue mining for the next year or two, maybe even 3 or 4 years. So I mean, honestly, we're probably going to hit 36,000 by mm, May. I would say from May 26th to June 26th up into July. I'd say we're probably going to hit that dump in there. Doesn't take long to dump during the summer because everybody's going to sell at the same time, which will create an avalanche,
Yeah.
which will create paper
Mhm.
hands, which will create everyone going, oh, it's over, and then everyone can come back in July and reposition themselves. So we don't know what's going to happen with the baby boomers' money until we get to this part right here. So this is really where we're at the new moment in the basics of crypto. So that's the fun part.
Yeah, man. Even if this war get more tense and all out war, but that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, I mean, the economy's, the economy. I mean, we're bleeding all over the place. We're still laying people off. Inflation is, still ridiculous. Um, if you're an economist, I mean, it's like I laugh at people that hop on my lives and they're always like, "Oh, VC, you know what you're talking about? We're hiring so many people." Okay, that was like 4 months ago. Where are those guys at now? I tell them.
Tesla is lying off, huh? Tesla 10%.
I mean, I called this 4 or 5 months ago. Remember the guy who used to be in my TikTok all the time? What's his name? TikTok recruiter. I ain't seen him around, since everyone's getting laid off now. I mean, sometimes people don't understand. Oh,
Mm.
what did he tell me? He said, "Oh, I know a bunch of people in Washington D.C." Okay, so basically, you're a fool. You believe the people that are in Washington D.C. That's great. That's meaningless, bro.
Yeah.
Their job is to tell you what you want to hear, not tell you what's going to happen. Told them everybody was going to get laid off. It's the economy. You're not gonna. There's a system that they use to bring back the economy, and they have to create a recession in order to create the economy setback. That's the only way they know
Mm.
how to do it. And since we haven't had an all-out recession, they're going to continue to do what they did. Look what they did to the people in, driving Ubers. Now they want them to be, now that they don't realize how much money they were making. So now they want to, take their 1099s, and now they want W-2s, because if they have W-2s, then they can control their tax breaks. Then they can control how much they're coming in. Then they can see how much that money is, and then they can adjust their abilities to, get that money and do what they need to do to force the economy to slow down a little bit. That's why they don't like truckers. That's why they go after the people that make bigger money, in the, the lower side, is because they need accountability for that. Otherwise, they don't know how to manipulate the markets. So now we're in this position where a lot of people are 1099, actually learning business, writing things off, becoming, financially educated. And, the sleepy Jomo over there, he's, attacking all the little people who make money on
Mhm.
was that Cash App and all these other things, because, you're making too much money when you're supposed to be having a recession. We can't reset the economy if poor people want to make money. That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
What's wrong with you poor people? Stop making money.
Yeah,
You gotta
it's
stick
crazy.
to your roots.
I till now I don't understand why the economists and Fed, everybody is looking to the unemployment numbers. That's like if the unemployment numbers grow, then they are going to, stop with tightening. And it's crazy. They just want to see more poor people. It's more people doesn't have don't have job. Yeah.
Well, it's called supply and demand, right? So if and what the thing is that supply and demand is manipulated by, supply and demand in capitalism, right? For instance, the reason, if you have a place that has, that gets milk, right? A grocery store that gets 1,000 gallons of milk, a week, or 10,000 gallons, whatever, and they sell out 3 days before it's time, then they'll raise the price of milk, because there's a need, there's a demand, and that creates higher gallons of milk. And then if that continues to sell out, they raise it again, a quarter, a quarter, a quarter. And they get to the point where there's, a couple gallons left, and they say, okay, we finally hit an area that we've got to the area where some people couldn't get the milk, right? And they maybe raise it another quarter to see if that levels out, or if they have, 1 or 2% left. And then they'll figure out that, okay, the most people are going to pay is this. That's capitalism, right? The problem is that there's plenty of milk. It's not like we're running out of milk. It's just that the stores realize how to gouge the people, and the laws that need to be made against the companies that gouge versus, supply and demand, right? Gouging is where you have enough supply, but you still raise the price because the demand is too high, and you're taking advantage of the economic situations of the world, right? And if they had those laws in place, then the economy would regulate itself, right? But no one seems to understand economics. So what they do is they allow them people to charge too much, and then that's kind of where a gallon of milk goes from $1.89 to $2.89, $3.20, which then costs the poor people too much money to buy milk, and then that affects their paying their bills, all their other stuff that they do. And that's why they go into the resetting of the economy, which is causing a recession, which is basically then adding inflation tax to the problem, making a gallon of milk $4, which means no one can buy it. And then meaning that companies then have to start laying people off to cover the production costs. Because what they want is the opposite. They want where a company has to pay so much inflation and tax that they can't afford to make the product. So then they lay people off, because if you lay people off, then people aren't buying 2 gallons of milk. They're buying 1 gallon of milk, and sometimes they're buying water because they can't afford milk. So then what happens is the demand of milk goes down, So the price of milk naturally goes down because no one can afford it. And then when it becomes a cheaper situation again, then they, take away the inflation tax, and then people can afford to hire people back and start making more milk, because now that people are being hired back, guess what? You're selling more milk. So it's a mechanism of control of the poor. It's how to keep the very poor, the ability to get the very poor to be able to afford milk, while taking the middle class that strives and reduce them back to poor, so that they don't raise the money on the 2% of people that can't get out, or unfortunately in America, the 30% of people that don't know how to get off government funds. Because the government funds have a very simple thing: you get $2,000 a month to live on. And the government's not going to increase that money for you to live on that because of milk went up. So what they do is they base their entire economy off of welfare, and that's what we live off of. That's why when people say you can't allow the government to be the person who feeds the poor, because then they start building the economy for the welfare people, right? Which means if you're making too much, they're going to punish you because you are driving the price up on their people. This is why you have to understand economics on a higher level and actually be educated, because then they base their entire ecosystem and their economic system based on the poverty, right? Which should just simply be this: if you have welfare or, stamps, you should go, when you go into a Walmart and you scan something, you should have a welfare card that you can just scan, and it automatically takes the prices in Walmart in half. Because aren't we already giving Walmart tax breaks? So why is Walmart allowed to charge the people on welfare full price? I mean, it's not hard to fix the economy,
Yeah.
guys. I mean, it takes someone with a half a brain. I mean, they could borrow 10% of my brain and get it done in a day. It's not that hard. But that would take education, right? I mean, we have all these memberships. Like, you go into a Walmart, they flash a card, and then you get a discount on something, right? Why do people on welfare, why are they paying full price?
Yeah, but maybe the government doesn't want to fix that problem yet.
Well, I mean, there's all types of sides to it. I mean, there's obviously, situations where more intelligent people would be a problem. Because then you'd ask where all the taxes go. If you understood money, you'd realize that they take in 90% of their money doesn't actually go anywhere for the people. So that could be a problem. You also have situations where maybe, you know, having a bunch of people, who are educated, could stir up more um, thoughts, or, you know, beliefs of other things. I mean, it could be anything out there, right? We just have to go with the
I
scenario.
think the biggest problem of America is corruption. There is a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
corruption there. I have seen this. I have
Oh
seen this
yeah.
in Afghanistan. They like the army or they are saying now 2 billion is or 2 trillion is spent there. They're all borrowed money, so they print money for that, and now they are paying the interest rate for that. But how the money was spent, like one example was a tank station. They built a tank station for $60 million. I know with $10,000 you can build a tank station there. I have some friends who told me 10,000 or $20,000, and you see the difference. So where does the money goes? The big officials
When
taking the big part,
yeah.
like 90%, and
Well,
you have one local person taking 2%. So,
yeah. I mean, you definitely have scenarios where, corruption is money. Money is corruption, right? And that's why, we should be, as crypto, we should be, asking for our governments to use these, the crypto, as far as like watching where the money goes, because where does the money go, right? I mean, when we build something and the people build something, it's 10,000. When they build something, it's 1,000,000. It's the same thing. So but that's the corruption of the world, right? And if you really track it, then you realize it all comes back to the same party, Back in America, it just comes through what we call, funding or donors, right? It's a
Yeah.
vicious circle, and if everybody, it's not like these aren't conspiracies, right? You can track the money, you can see the money. But if we use crypto, we could really track the money. We'd realize that it goes from the people who pass the legislation, it goes to the other country. That country has one little spot that collects all the money, and then it pays off all these other people, and those other people have funds that go back to America, and they happen to go right back into the party of the legislators that made the law or approved the money. It's almost as if by approving the money to Afghanistan and all these other places, it's almost as if they're getting paid to do it. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I'm no genius, but I mean, it seems to come if the money goes out to another country and then comes back into our country, into the pockets of the party of the people that passed the legislation. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it looks a little suspicious. I'm no expert, but yeah, I mean, I mean, it's just, I mean, at some
And the
point,
crazy, it's crazy that it's not a small money. It's always about big money moving like that.
yeah, you're right, right. I mean, but that's what's funny about it is that you can send 700 million and get back 500 million to your party and then be like, what? Oh no, they just they like us. They're
And
not
then
even from
you
this
see,
country.
overall, everybody is saying, American people, the general people, they have not like $400 in their accounts, like
Well,
40%, they have not more than $400 in their accounts.
yeah, about
Yeah,
70% of Americans have less than $400 in their bank account.
ooh,
Isn't that crazy?
yeah, that's really crazy. Why don't they just go out and demonstrate like in France? I mean, they should do that.
you know, when you get into like politics and you get into all that, I mean, there's just so many avenues, and now you have to realize like America is the big dog in the house, right? And Americans have been under intense manipulation of commercials and propaganda for a solid 100 years. So, and it got really extreme in 2000 and 2008 to be exact. And people are unable to recover from the a massive amount of social interactance with propaganda. And unfortunately, people don't know. I mean, it's kind of like when you say it out loud. I mean, I don't want to say that, I would just say that most Americans are uneducated when you believe that when you see a meme and you think the meme is actually news. I mean, I'm a little embarrassed to call you an American. Like, oh, you thought the meme was actually news. I mean, I don't,
But this will get more crazy because now the fake videos will come.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. Deep
you know,
state. Yeah, yeah.
this is the big thing, eh? The AI generated.
So here's the thing about like, to be honest with you, it's like, you know, everything has an end, right? So every empire failed, right? And so you say to yourself, how does the most dominant empire in the world's history, which is the Roman Empire, how did it fail, right? And there's one word that goes through my mind every time that I think about, the world, right? And it's just a normal thing. The word that always happens is called irony, right? And irony is the greatest karma in the world because irony is basically life, right? Right when you think that you have done everything that you could to win and you've solved every issue and you are about to do the greatest move that you've ever done, there's always something that happens. And the one thing that I see when you talk about these AIs and these fake states and the ability to clone anyone on news, I think that it seems like it's a no-brainer that the people who can't figure out that a meme isn't a news article, or people who just read a headline, which is called clickbait, and don't know that that's actually not the real article, and people who don't know that the Democrats in 2010 changed the law and said that you can write whatever you want on the internet, even if it's a lie, and then put the article on the inside. I mean, the people who are just undereducated and don't understand anything about reading or research or the basics of elementary education. I think the moment that we're getting to where the fact that they can create fake AIs, fake people, fake news so easily in the minds that where people say, "Hey, this is going to be a big problem." I actually think it's going to be opposite, because sometimes you go too far. And I think now that everyone realizes that you can make everything up and nothing's real, I think it's the first time in history that all the uneducated people will actually pay attention, because now they know it's all fake. You see what I'm saying? So if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
if you can't believe anything, then what do you have to do? You have to go find the truth. So I think it's a
yeah.
great thing that they can make up all the fake stuff, because now the people who weren't paying attention the first time, who weren't educated enough to see the fakeness, or simply go download a full video, right, to see to go research, basics, right? I think now they're realizing that they have to actually like realize that everything's fake and they got to pay attention, right? Like I'm hearing people,
Mhm.
I'm not a political person, right? I don't really care. But at the end of the day, I'm hearing people that voted for, the donkey, Sleepy Jojo. And I'm hearing them actually start to say, "Hey, did you know that, Joe Biden was actually on the Senate floor and he passed laws to lock up, black people longer than white people?" I mean, the fact that they just figured that out is fantastic. I mean, they're about, 3.5 years too late, but I mean, if you would have that the information was available 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 4 years ago, right? But they didn't understand it was real. But now they know. So I think this is the greatest time in history, because people are finally going to realize that everything is fake, and you actually need to get educated, right? And this is why the logo that you see on my hat is a triple D, right? It's like do your due diligence. This is the era of be smart. This is the era of get educated. This is the decade of nobody gives a shit about you, right? This is the decade of everyone thinks you're stupid, right? This is the decade of you haven't done smart decisions your whole life. This is the decade of, right? I think when you hit rock bottom, I think that's when everybody wakes up and looks around and goes, "Hey, I'm not stupid. I'm just uneducated, but I'm going to learn." And that's why they don't like TikTok. And I don't like TikTok either, but TikTok just needs to fix their platform. But at the overall, there's so many people that are learning, right? So them look at Uber. The fact that they had to take Uber and change it from a 1099 to a W-2 because people were writing too many things off, that's just an example of how educated people are getting. I think we're in the moment of generational wealth, not just because of crypto, but simply because of the opportunities of people getting educated. And, it doesn't happen overnight, but people are getting smarter, right? They're getting more educated.
Yeah.
So, we're in the time of fear, because most people are afraid that all this fake news is going to come out, but now you're going to be watching it like with an AI bot. But I think that people are aware that it's all fake now, and now they realize that since it's all fake, that they have to actually do some research. I think this is the greatest time in our history. This is the moment where we change history. So I think it's all playing out
Uh,
just the way it's supposed to. You know what I mean?
It's also something else, because you can say, okay, then they are going to research more, but
Hmm.
it could also be, for some elderly people, they just give up. They also could give up. I mean, they could give
Hmm.
up because the robots and the AI is much smarter than people,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, and
the AI is going to replace their jobs, and
yeah, I mean, so okay, let's so now see, this is where you have to go into theories, right? It gets much deeper than that. So there was a discussion 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, and the discussion was, what is the purpose of life, right? And it was a very interesting discussion because what they were talking about at the time was, how does everyone get freedom, right? And what they meant by that was, how do we get out of 9 to 5s? And they said, well, okay. And the person said, well, if everybody, if, no, if the entire world didn't have to go to work, then there would be chaos, which is incorrect. And the philosophy behind it was this: let's say that for 3 years, everyone in the world decided to take robotics and engineering, and they all created robots to do their job, right? They all studied how to build robots and how to do their job, right? And this is maybe 15 years ago, 10, 15. And what happens is, if you don't have to get up every day to go mow lawns or, you know, paint or whatever, and that you can just, have a robotic
mm,
car pick you up and take you where you're going, and you don't need people to do anything, what would happen to people? Well, the robots they created would actually be doing their jobs, and then they would be collecting the money that they need for doing their job, and then people would just be bartering what their robot made to pay the other person's robot, and you would still be living a great life. The only
mhm,
difference is you'd be sitting at home watching more entertainment. And so the world doesn't end when robots take over. The world ends when the people who create the robots become the only people making money. So what we have to figure out is how can everyone create or get a piece of the income that they can live at home and not be bothered, right? And be able to make more money coming up with other things, because as time goes on, once people don't have to go to work, what are they going to want? They're going to want entertainment, right? They're going to want to see better TV shows. They're going to want to, I don't know, play sports. They're going to want to go outside. I mean, look what happened during the pandemic, right? Everybody, who ate out all the time and had a terrible health lifestyle, realized that by being at home and eating healthy, that they could live longer and actually enjoy life. So now you have this huge boom in, I don't know if you guys do this, but I'm a big juice fan. And, I tend to drink a lot of, like protein shakes and a lot of,
fresh juice.
stuff. Yeah. And so I've seen a big difference in when I go shopping over the last year and a half in the options that I have to buy. I mean, I have tons of juices now to buy, like tons of companies, right? And people are more active now, and people cook at home more now. So that opened a whole new industry of, look at the, what's that thing called, where they deliver the food right to your house. There's companies delivering. I mean, I get, when I'm stable, I normally order these oatmeal shakes, and now I make them, but they're delicious. I used to get them out of New York. New York, they're like, they send you a big box of them, and man, you just throw them in your freezer, dude, every morning. Oh, delicious. You put they come in this glass. They put the little blender on top. You just screw on, you blend it. It's unbelievable. But now you have all these companies that are growing fresh food, fresh herbs, fresh greens, and because people are cooking more. So the thing about it is that we adopt and adapt to everything that more of us want. So the more things that we want as people, the more the other people create these things to make us happy. So there's no end to our jobs just because we walk into McDonald's and there's a screen now. You just punch in your order, and then you walk over and some guy hands it to you. Eventually, there'll be one guy and he'll have a robot making fries. I've seen it already. There's robot making fries. There's a robot flipping burgers, and the guy is just handing the food to the person outside the window and the person at the counter. So you McDonald's is going to go from having 14 employees to three per shift, and maybe four or five. Now the best part about it is they'll actually clean the lobby, because it's dirty. But but I'm just saying, is every time that we have an evolution of technology, we always have an evolution of, you know, progress in entertainment and what our needs are. So the world never stops just because robots start doing things. I mean, think about the guys that used to make cakes with a spoon and then there was a blender. Did all the bakeries go out of business? No, right?
Oh,
They just became more skilled. So I'm not too worried about robots taking over.
I
taking
hope so.
over, our jobs and everything, uh, because that's just going to create other opportunities. I mean, we haven't even. I mean, this world is. I don't know if you guys. I mean, this is where understanding world uh, technology is important. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever look at Japan, but Japan has things that you can't even fathom. I seen a TV 5 years ago that was literally like a quarter-inch thick, and it had a visual on both sides. I signed Samsung was one of my big contracts. And man, they got technology in these other countries that make America stuff look terrible. So I mean, when you travel the world, you realize that man, there's so much better stuff out there. You're not even seeing it yet, right? So I'm not worried about the robots taking over. I'm actually happy if I can get uh, a robot that can make a burger right. Because people want 14. Like the other day, I went in to get a McDonald's, and the guy they're making 15, $18 an hour, and the guy couldn't even take my order. Like I don't know how many times I have to say, and it was something simple like I need a 10-piece nugget. He couldn't even figure out how to give me barbecue sauce. So I mean, quite. I'd rather have a robot. I was kind of mad that I didn't just go type it into the kiosk. Nothing personal. I mean, I know he's I'm a for he was an immigrant, but I mean, man, I'm old school. I was making $4 an hour when I was a kid. So you getting $18, you can't type in barbecue, then I don't know, bro. I think you should probably go to school first. You know, nothing against the immigrants coming to America. It's just reality that we need to have some type of you know some type of standard. You know what I mean? I couldn't even get barbecue.
Yeah,
So I
knew
mean,
so.
but everybody, I mean, where are you gonna go to come into McDonald's and you're making $17 an hour? You don't even speak English. So I mean, America, if robots were taking over the world, then I wouldn't see so many immigrants working, right? I think that
But
Americans.
from the other side, so if I want to come to US,
Hmm.
even I got my the university documents, everything you need.
Hmm.
But then it's very difficult to come there. They rather want immigrants with nothing instead of people who have diplomas and work permits and everything. It's
Yeah,
it's
because
crazy. They just want dumb people there.
well, yeah, because that's but it's not that's not that's what we call Democrats. Because the Democrats want dumb people here so they can teach you how to vote. Right? They don't want. Believe me, they don't want. They tried that. They let educated foreigners in, and then they all became Republicans because it doesn't make sense what the Democrats do. And like I said,
But I see
I'm
also
not a
here.
political person, but I mean, it's just reality. When you like break down the numbers, it's kind of like it's ridiculous. I mean,
No,
I
but I
you know,
see here in Netherlands, it's the same thing in Europe, in total Europe. You
but
see that in previously in the wartime they bring up Turkish and Moroccan people,
hmm
a lot of them,
yeah,
and those are not the people from the cities. Those are the people from the mountains.
hmm
So
yeah, you do.
you
I
know
mean,
at that time. they decided to do this like this. So to bring up dumb people and let them do some work and then go back. That
Yeah,
was the idea.
you know, well, you do know that. I mean, so if you don't know, you got to know by now that Britain and the UK own America. I mean, we left a long time ago, and then they came over here with a bunch of ships, and they said you're going to use our money or we'll destroy you, and then we bowed down to them. And every president that tried to leave
Yeah,
the bank got murdered. So there's only four presidents in American history that's ever been assassinated, and all four of them tried to stop the printing of the money and wanted to print our own money, and they all got murdered for it. Right. So make no mistake, who owns America? Like, we're free to be slaves. We're not really free to be free. So Britain, they do the same thing, and they're just, they and I'm okay with, the ideals behind it, because sometimes these programs aren't really like to stop anything. I mean, quite frankly, if you have people in mountains, and if you can get them to come down and make, you know, 100 times more money in a year than they've ever made, then maybe they go back to the mountains and maybe they build something, right? So I'm
yeah,
not I'm not everybody, to me it's like, if you take the poorest person, you give them money, that's better for the world, right? My whole thing is, we need to address the conglomerates of the world, and there has to be an end to free money for companies like Walmart, Amazon, and that money should be used to do more in the mountains and the poorest people. And
yeah,
it needs to grow more there. I mean, I'm okay with when they do that type of stuff, but they do it in a fashion of, they want to make sure that who helped you, so that way they can you vote for them, right? Because it's the only way they can steal money is if you vote for them. And
yeah,
unfortunately, the weirdest thing about immigrants is that most of the people who are immigrants have seen what happens to a country when there's corruption, and that's what they see in America instantly, because that's where they came from. And during the elections,
yeah,
the last elections, there was more immigrants pissed off than Americans, right? Because they knew what was happening, which was funny to me, because I'm like,
yeah,
wow. I mean, immigrants know that we're being, hosed and fleeced, and they were upset because they came here to get away from that. And then when you see it happening in America, it's kind of scary. But that's,
yeah,
as time goes on, you can only do so much to a people until they all figure it out. And I think we're getting to that point. And hopefully, as we move forward, we can get to a solution that makes sense for everybody. And at the end of the day, I think people realizing there's plenty of money in America to feed everybody. There's plenty of money in America to give everyone free education. There's plenty of money in America to give free health care. I mean, we proved it by sending hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars around the world. So if we can send hundreds
yeah,
of billions of dollars around the world, we could probably spend 10% of that in America to get free education. I would assume. And so we're just, that's the whole thing, is that once the hands are played, once you show your cards, then people can look at what you have, and then they can make a decision and say, hey, you're not being completely honest with us here, and this looks
yeah,
fishy, right? And that's kind of where we're at. We're at that moment where people are all starting to figure out that it looks a little fishy. And you could you can only
yeah,
come home smelling like perfume and other women so many times before your wife says, hey, I'm not really buying it. There's an end to everything, brother. So that's the end, and we're kind of
yeah,
there. We're kind of at that moment, like, hey, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and might be a duck, but that's where we're at. And like I said, I think everyone's getting more educated, and I think bringing in people that people think are like mountain or dumb people, they're actually, they're just uneducated, but I think by bringing in people that never had anything, and showing them corruption, I think they're aware of it a lot faster than the people of America, because Americans have never, they've been so brainwashed that corruption doesn't exist, but foreigners have seen corruption on major scales, and they see it immediately. So they're going to point it out a lot quicker because that's what they don't want. Like you don't want to come to America and finally make money and then say, oh man, there's corruption here. You don't want that. You want to get out of that. You want to point that out because you want this amazing world to keep going. So, like I said, I just think we're at the end of the facade, and I think we're at the end of the bullshit. You know, I'm seeing people that didn't understand anything about elections finally, you know, doing research, and so I think we're in a great position. I think over the next, you know, 5 years, we're going to see big changes, and I'm excited for technology, and I'm excited for to see where you know we just need a little more structure because it is kind of crazy in some places. There's a lot of foreigners coming in, and hopefully we're doing something to you know guide them to where they can do something with extra cash. But there's a lot of opportunity in America to make money, and even though we're struggling, as an economy, which is kind of crazy to really like think about. But there's giving so much away. Like my whole thing is, how can you, if you're a foreigner, how can you come to America and then get a house and not have any mortgage payments until you sell your house, and the bank takes the money that you owed from the sale of the house. Like I've never seen that before, but that's a really good program, and I think that should be offered to every American, not just immigrants, since it's possible of having. So
Yeah.
sometimes what comes from these ridiculous ideals that they come up with is the fact that once we see it happen, then we if it's justifiable, then it should be to the masses, not to the not to the but particular or the special needs. It needs to be to the masses. So if banks don't need a
Yeah.
mortgage payment every month, then why do we pay mortgage payments, right? So I'm for that's what I'm saying. Like I'm kind of the guy that I'm like, hey, listen, go ahead and do all the bullshit you want, and then we want to see if it works, and then if it works, then we're just gonna. I say everyone should be able to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can't, then that's called discrimination. And it's not that
Yeah.
hard to understand, right? So at some point, we as
Yeah.
the people have to understand that we just have to, if you can't beat them, join them. So, if they come up with these ideals where
It,
people don't have mortgages, I mean, I'm down.
so sometimes I think it's more complicated. It is a lot complicated to fix it so easy. I mean, if look at this the system having just two parties, like you have you have the Democrats and
The
the other
Republicans.
party,
I mean, we
and
have independent,
the
but
Republic.
it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, but why? It's a big country, like 300 million people there. In Holland, you have like 20 parties. Yeah, everybody choose one. I mean, then they have parliament, and inside parliament, they are always arguing. They are arguing a lot, discussing a lot to make a decision. But at least more voices are listened to. In US is more like, okay, now we are going to decide, and some people who were selected, they are going to decide, and if, even the election, after the election is done, after the election, even in Holland, sorry, in Holland, after the election, uh, the decisions what they make, people doesn't have any say to it. They just decide. But they got the money, they decide, and it's off your hand. So people doesn't have any say to. For example, in Corona time, they just said everybody sit at home, everybody wear mask, everybody. So everybody had to listen. And not even looking back. Okay, a few months ago we choose you, and now you're coming here, taking over everything. and surprising us with all these rules that you didn't write down on your, the booklet that your plans, these weren't your plans, and you're saying us that we need to accept everything. That's crazy. So it happens a lot of time that when they're chosen, after that people doesn't have any say to it, because and sometimes it's about money, sometimes it's about big money, like right now they're spending like 2 billion every few months to Ukraine. And why why don't you go back to the people, say we are now about to take a big chunk of the money of government and put it to Ukraine. Are you okay with it? Just make a question. It shouldn't be so difficult. You just make a website for it, and then some people go and vote. How easy is it in these times to create a voting application that people can vote? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
people
it's
voted
simple.
no, so you don't spend that money. They don't do it.
That
Even everybody
would
knows that it
be
should be possible, but they don't do it.
so here's the enigma, right? And this is the greatest argument ever is that they will say to you, well, if we gave everyone the ability to vote on each of these matters, then the majority of people would vote incorrectly because they're uneducated. But I asked them one time and I said, well, then, if they're uneducated to vote on an item, then why do you let them vote for you?
Yeah, it's really crazy.
I mean, it's
And
not that hard
if
to
the
understand.
if
They want the dumb person to vote, or not dumb, but uneducated person to vote for them. They just want them to obey
yeah,
them afterwards.
yeah,
That
and that's
that's
not
what you're
correct.
missing. That's the
Yeah,
that's called politics. That's the manipulation that we're in. Welcome to America.
that's a manipulation. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
and
right?
and and, and you could say the they cannot vote if many people vote. Some of them they cannot vote because they're dumb or something. But you can also argue that maybe the choices you're giving is dumb. So
Yes.
if the option is dumb, don't give that option. Give smart options to
So
choose, and
now you're
it should be fair.
right, and now I love you, Max. You're funny. Now the problem is like all this makes sense, brother. I mean, nobody's gonna. That's the thing about the debate is that no one can argue with the fact that we should probably have smarter people asking about smarter decisions. But the point is that they can't steal all the money with smart decisions. That's why they make dumb ones because that's how they steal the money, right? Once you realize that they're all criminals, then you'll understand that we have made a terrible mistake and there's no way to get around it because the only way to get around it would be to have honest people run for these positions. And normally they get murdered. So
Yeah,
when you're dealing with trillions and hundreds of billions and a lot of money, I mean, is hitmen are like $5 or $10,000. You can get rid of anybody you want. So if somebody's trying to make 100, $300 million, you think they care about 5,000, 10,000 to get rid of you? They don't. So the problem is that it's not hard to make an app, right? I mean, especially with crypto, because you understand crypto. The easiest thing to do would be to get an NFT of a voting card, and it's one NFT.
yeah,
It's you can't fake it. You can't go to a poll and vote 5 times. You show up with your NFT. It goes in a computer system that you voted your token. That NFT gets one token to vote, and once that token gets put back into the system and it's sent out, then that's over. Then there's not 14 votes from that one fake person, right? I mean, so let me. This is
mm,
so to kind of sum it up, bro. I know what you're saying, and we're all aware of it. And here's kind of the argument where in America there was 140 million people estimately that registered to vote, but there was 168 or something million people that voted. Now both sides, if they're intelligent, could say, well, wait a minute. If there's only 140 million people registered, how did 160 million people vote? But that wasn't the argument that we had. The argument was that the blue side won, and they don't care that 40 to 25 million dead people voted. All they care is that they won because they've been manipulated into fear, thinking that the orange man would start a war. But the funniest thing is, the old white haired man started the wars. So where were they after the
Yeah.
war started? I thought the entire problem was the orange man would start a war, but the old man started the war. So you voted for someone because you thought they wouldn't go to war, and you didn't vote for the other guy because you didn't want to go to war. But your guy went to war, but you didn't say anything. So why are
Yeah.
these people who voted not held accountable? Right? When
Crazy.
the whole argument should have been very simple. Well, there's 140 million people that registered to vote. Why do we have 160 million votes?
Yeah.
See, I don't care who won.
Manipulation.
I just care that it was real, right? But if you bring that up to
Yeah.
people, right, it makes common sense, right? And that's the only thing that we should be debating is why was 20 million votes counted that from the people that don't exist, right? Any educated person or
It is.
any stable person or any person with any type of brain or sense or duty of country would say, yeah, this doesn't make sense. But we don't have that. We have a
But
bunch of
it,
uneducated,
it,
irrational, over medicated, hyper. I have all these issues. I can't think. I get nervous when people look at me. I've got all these problems, right? But I want to be able to vote, right?
and if
It's
this
crazy.
happens in Pakistan or in Bangladesh or anywhere, they will adopt it. But in US and in Western countries, they don't adopt it. They just think, okay, now it might be true. Maybe I'm dumb. I don't understand it. But that's the real issue. They don't they don't doubt it. They
No,
just
they just happy they won,
take it.
right? Because they're so manipulated that it's ridiculous. They believe everything they say. Like you honestly, like the funniest thing is you could take a video clip, edit it, show one part, and then they will believe it, and then you can show them the rest of the video, and they say, "I don't care, I still believe it." Like they're so gone, and they're so fear mongered that they just you can't reach them, man. They're gone, right? So I understand what you're saying, and it all sucks. The weirdest thing is that they've done it so much in America that it's so profitable that it's going to find its way into these other countries because if it works in America, it works anywhere. So it's just like selling food. It's just like selling bullshit. That's all they're doing is they're stealing from the people. And until the people wake up one day and actually take care of business and get rid of the people that decided to thought this was the right thing to do and hold them accountable, then nothing's going to happen. It's going to keep getting adopted over and over through all the countries. And that's why you're seeing it more and you're going, well, what is this shit? That's well, you're seeing American politics. We call that elections.
Yeah,
I mean, we're aware of it.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's just nothing, we can do about it. And that's because America's so big and we're the sleeping giant. But one day we'll wake up. And one day all the people will say, listen, I don't give a shit if you're red or blue. I just want to know why there's 20 million dead people voting, right?
yeah.
Because eventually technology
Uh,
will overtake the elections and how we vote, and eventually we will get common sense in here. Eventually it will make sense, right? But it's not like you know it's far from where we're at now, right? Because
yeah,
it has to sink in, right? And so far it hasn't sunk in yet. That's the problem now. But people are starting to understand now.
yeah,
They're like, hey, hey, hey. And then once America wakes up, then the rest of the world will wake up. Because there was people arguing in the streets in France and Australia. I mean, there's a lot of people that stood up for themselves. Look what they did in Canada, right? They stood up for themselves, and what they do? They shut down all their banks and held all their money, and the world stood by. We're not safe.
No,
we live in tyranny, and nobody's aware of it. You know. So what are we heading
let's
towards?
see, man.
We're heading towards
Yeah,
the inevitability, right? And unfortunately, that's going to be in our lifetime. So all you can
yeah.
do is
I don't think in my lifetime it will be that much change. I mean, you're dealing with people, people mindset. If you want to change the mindset of people, it takes a lot of time.
mm-hmm,
How can you change people? I mean, so difficult.
you're very difficult. So
Yeah,
you know, especially when you're dealing with when the money is getting out of control. The thing I like about crypto is that crypto brings the world together, and people who have never been to Europe or talk to somebody in India or in Africa or talk to somebody in Spain. They're talking to them in discords all over the world, and they're realizing in Australia and all these places that um, wow, things are bad everywhere. And now the news can't manipulate them because they're talking to their friend John who actually lives there, right?
yeah.
And the news can't say, "Oh, everyone in Australia is getting the shot because they think it's great." And then you talk to all the Australians, they're like, "Hell no, mate! They had to force us. They took our money. They stopped us from working." And you realize, oh, you're under tyranny too, right? And that's just kind of the way it is.
Mm.
And now that we all know that we're under tyranny, now the question is, what do you do about it? You know, and hopefully
Yeah.
as a group and as a crypto world, the crypto people can solve some type of riddle and wake people up, and we make decisions and find a slowly, it's all little things like first thing you do is you make everyone have an NFT for an ID, so that way there's no fake IDs and no voting fraud, right? If you remove voting fraud, then you basically eliminate 50% of the corruption, right? Because if everyone
Yeah.
had an NFT that got one wallet that had one token every single time, and once you cast that one token or that one vote, you're done. So when you register, they
Yeah.
send your wallet one token. It sends it an NFT. So you have the one NFT that's connected to your wallet, and it goes back to the government's wallet. And every year you register, they give you your NFT. And then when you vote, you send that same NFT back to the government. And that way there's only one vote for your entire wallet, your entire life. That's the end of corruption. I mean, it took me what, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that
It,
hard,
it,
bro.
it will be very easy to build, I think.
Yeah, take a second. I can build it in 30 minutes. But that's the beginning of common sense, and that's where people have to say, "Hey, Kate, why aren't we?" Meanwhile, Bitcoin's dumping here to about 63. What we got here? So that's the beginning of the common sense. Like, if we just implement one step, right? There's so much we have to fix, but honestly, if we just fix the corruption, that's the first place we start. Fix voter fraud, right? So that we can elect the people that we want to actually elect. The second thing you need to do is you need to put a cap on businesses that get tax breaks. After so much tax breaks, it ends, right? If you're a company that's making $700 million a year to a billion to a billion and a half, well, if you can't survive, then you should probably go out of business. Like, why are we giving tax breaks to Walmart? Walmart pays literally no tax, like tiny tax, but they're the wealthiest family in America. I don't even understand that. Like hundreds of billions. Like what else do they need to buy? Look at Amazon. Amazon hasn't paid taxes.
Yeah.
He got a divorce. She got
Trillion companies.
$60 billion in a divorce settlement. Now he's selling billions of dollars every 3 quarters. I mean, why are they getting tax breaks? Why does a guy who's starting a
Yeah,
company have to pay for an LLC, pay for high rent, get no extra money, get no help? Why is the guy who's starting a business not getting no taxes? Why is the guy who's starting a business not getting the extra money to survive? Right? Like it's actually stupid. If you look at it, it makes no sense. The little guy should have all the breaks and the big guy should pay for it. That's it. Big
yeah.
companies should pay for little companies to compete for them. And then if they find somebody that makes more money, buy them out and say thanks for the ideal and then hire more people to try to make better ideals. Then you could have a conglomerate that actually supports the people because then you're buying out people or giving them salaries for the rest of their life for their ideals. And that way, the company who's owned by X, Y, and Z can stay the owners of X, Y, and Z, but they're also giving people their rightful pay. You know what I mean? Because if you get a guy who can come up with a
Yeah.
really good
Th- this-
ideal, I mean, just give him 5, 10, 15 million, and he'll, I'm sure he could find a good life. But that's what we need to do. We need to monitor the
Yeah,
bigger companies.
there's so much things to do to improve the
Well,
fairness of the business.
that's why crypto is
But
so important
yeah,
because crypto is a look into the future of basically transparency, right? Transparency is when crypto comes around and says, "Hey guys, we can see where all the money goes. So why isn't our government showing us? Hey guys, we can end voter fraud with an NFT and a token, but why aren't we doing it?"
yeah,
Right? This technology is going to change the world, but it's up to the people to slide it in there without them being aware of like what we're really doing. You have to play the game. You gotta Once you learn the game and realize that they're manipulating you and taking advantage of you. It's like a parent, right? There's people out there that have parents, and these parents do things like you know tell their kids like all the terrible things they've been through in life, and then use them to as a confidant in their life's moments, and they put all this anxiety and pressure on their children, that when their children get older they feel like they have to be the most accomplished, they have to help their mom, they have to help their dad, and they have to do all these things, and then if something goes wrong, it's my fault, I wasn't there for my mom, I wasn't there for my dad. And then they create this generational trauma, and the kid never leaves home because I can't leave my mom, I can't leave my dad, because how are they going to take out the garbage? Oh, right. And you create these slaves, and then that slave never goes out and actually creates something or their own career or their own life, but that's what they do. And it's like that's what the government has been doing to people, and the people now do it to their children. It's called generational trauma, and you learn it from your government. You know, but hopefully
yeah,
through crypto, people can see different alternatives of abilities to get around the loopholes and work as a community the same way that this entire world was started off bartering and community help. And then we can find better ways to feed people and fix our neighborhoods, that one day we say, hey, why are we even hired? Why do we even have a mayor? Like, why don't we all just come up with an NFT, and then every time there's something, why don't we just hire a bunch of people that tell us, what we need to fix in our, like, you ever get an estimate from a plumber? Why don't we just have a bunch of companies come into our city, and our city, everyone who lives in the city, since we already know who you are because you registered in the city, you have an address, we're going to give you an NFT that says you live in Watertown. And inside of Watertown, we're not going to have a mayor or anybody like that telling us what to do. What we're going to do is we're going to have a clerk that works for the people, and we're going to give them a regular salary like a normal person. And we're going to have, when we need plumbing, what we're going to do is we're going to have all the companies around the area that do water plumbing for cities can come in and give us estimates, and look over what they could do for our dam, our rivers, our towns. And when we build new neighborhoods, they can give us estimates on how much it would cost. And then as a community, we can all vote on the best price, and then we can decide on a simple NFT app that if we want to hire this guy or this guy or this guy. And that way we know how much we're going to be paying in taxes because we pick the price. So that way we only pay taxes that are
Yeah.
being used for our city. I mean, what a concept. But like I said, man,
Yeah.
it's not hard to solve the problem with crypto. The problem is people have to understand that crypto solves all the problems. And when we get to that state, then we will be seeing the evolution of web 3, the evolution of owning your own identity, the evolution of owning your own ideals, right? We're getting there. It's just that the corruption is also getting, they're greedier than ever, right? So you're in a battle and it's spreading throughout the world. But like I said, you ever heard the expression like you bit off more than you can chew? Well, they're biting off more they can
Yeah.
more than they can chew, my friend, because the rest of the world is starting to go, what the hell is going on? Right? What you're saying is what you're seeing where you're at now, you think it's ridiculous. That's been America for over 100 years. But now it's
Yeah.
spreading throughout the world, and the rest of the world is going, hey, this is some stupid stuff. And we agree. But we can't, America can't stand up for itself because, we're under great, you know, political pressure, right? But if the rest of the world starts to repel, then that's how you wake the sleeping giant. But until then,
I think Russia and China now, they are not picking up.
oh yeah,
That's not, you know,
the
that's
world's
not fair.
changing. I mean, so like,
Yeah,
eventually, like, some you bite off more than you can chew, and then it's over. I think we're at that point. So, like I
that's
said,
that's
I'm
very
excited.
crazy. China is saying, no, you you are printing money and you give that money to us, and we are hard working and we are creating stuff. I've been in China, and they are really hard working people.
Hmm.
I mean, they really run for the work. And then America is just printing, and then China needs to use that money, needs to use dollar because their biggest customer is US. But that's not fair. You still printing money, and we are still working hard, and we have all the resources and all the, building for Apple, building for, I don't know, every company there.
Hmm.
And now they got the knowledge. They took over. It started first with when they copied the F-16, F-16,
Hmm.
and then later on, yeah, everything from Apple is built there and everything. Yeah. Now US cannot, easily get rid of China. It's something is going to stay there. And Russia also, they're getting good friends. And now the Iran is coming with them, and they're making the BRICS
Hmm.
country.
Brazil,
Um,
India,
so
India is with them.
these these are the big things. These are big changes, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
And
a little bit. I mean, you got to realize our biggest supplier is China, which was our fault. We should never let that happen. And our biggest partner is India.
yeah,
And now they're both deciding that their country is more important than feeding the IMF, than feeding this bureaucracy that we have over here. And it's coming to an end, which is great for the entire world. Like, does the American dollar go to shit? Yes. But do we have crypto? Yes. Can we leave America? Yes.
yeah,
So the only bad thing is if you're sitting around America going, well, I like it here. Well, enjoy. Because the rest of the world is better right now. It's getting better. And they're going to
yeah,
move. I mean, you can only be a monopoly for so long, and that's where we're at. Now, then the rest of the world is growing, and the rest of the world has, job opportunities, and it's just a different. It's the end of the empire. Like I said, the empires always end. The Roman Empire came to an end, and now the American Empire is coming to an end. And we're going to have to adapt. I mean,
Yeah.
fortunately, there's new technology and there's all this new jobs, and Americans, we're not out of money. It's just that we can't the abuse from the top layers of the IMF going to other countries and then loaning the taxpayers money of America to then take all the oil and gold from other countries and abuse them. That's all coming to an end, right? It's really not going to hurt the American people because we're not part of the corruption. We're just consumers, right? So we just need to
Yeah.
survive the printing shop and get them to stop, printing and creating our dollar into nothing, and that's going to be the big moment in time. But I mean, as far as what the world has done, IMF has done to other countries, that's just a matter of time for them to grow into their own, and to control their own oil and control their own, their imports and their gold, right? I mean, we have so much in America. We don't even need it. It's not like it's hurting us. We've built so much. I mean, honestly, we could rebuild everything again and not have any problems. So it's just the sharing of the
Yeah.
of the revenue, right? I mean, do we need to buy? I mean, let's for instance, we spend $1,200, $1,500 on an iPhone, but if I went over to China, I could get the same iPhone for 100.
Hmm.
So I mean, we're just taxed differently, right? So the idea that America will suffer
Yeah.
that much is kind of ridiculous because honestly, if our prices go down to normal, then we wouldn't be suffering anyways. We're just operating on a very high level. And then the ability to be
No.
the investors into the new world, like crypto and all these new things. I mean, we're gonna, we just have to get back to our roots, which is, basically innovation, right? That's where we started. So we go back to innovation, we go back to how we started. I mean, it's all that's happening is we're just recycling, starting the next circle. You know what I mean? So I don't see anything, traumatic really happening. The only thing that we have to bear witness to and kind of avoid is the loss of power from the 1% of the world trying to abuse the rest of the world, which is we all know is the big banks, the IMF, the Federal Reserve, and all these guys. They're the ones who are coming to an end, not the people. The people support each other, and now we're getting to that moment. So I mean, I don't make money with the IMF or the Federal Reserve, so what's it to me?
But that's the point. The those people are deciding, and those people can also decide to start a war and say, okay, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we are the biggest army.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
But where?
start a
But
war with China or with
are we
Russia.
not are we
You
not
know?
at the point where the people are aware of all that now? I mean, I'm pretty sure we're aware. I mean, Russia has released so much information over the last 2 months that man, if you weren't aware, then you know now. I mean, you're talking Russia just literally released the information that if you were an educated historian, you knew that most pretty much all the medical stuff that they wrote in America that said there was American wrote it was all made in Africa. But if you were a historian, you would already know that. You would know that the Sphinx have their nose knocked off because it's an African Sphinx. You would know that the Africa and these countries before us had way more education, and what we have in America we stole from Africa already, right? The stories of I'm a Hebrew, but I know that when I read a Bible, when a guy says he has curly hair, hay like hair with dark feet. I mean, he's obviously not a white. Jesus isn't white with blue eyes, right? So,
No.
I mean, the only people here that are fooled are the people that want to be fooled. But now, the truth is coming out. So, I mean, people. I don't know if you've seen all the stuff that Russia went out and went into the archives and bring out, the Black Bible, the African Bible, and all this. I mean, people who knew, but it's a culture shock. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you actually read the Bible, then you realize that he's never been a blue-eyed, blonde-haired person. It wasn't new to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a
Oh,
spirit. I'm a spiritual guy, so I believe in higher power. I believe in the energy. I believe in how we move through the universe. I believe in how we can manifest through positive thinking. I'm not. I don't think you know. I'm not. I'm not stuck on the Christianity, Catholic, Baptist,
But
whatever. You know.
does it work for you, the meditation and the vibration and stuff? Does it work for you? Like,
Yeah.
you see any difference?
Oh, tons, bro. Okay. So if you know me, and you've been around, you've been in my Discord for a while, so I I have I'm I have incredible faith, and the faith really just is. I've been very like blessed to be, man. I can't tell you how many times that my intuition or my process has protected me or guided me into positions that just don't even make sense. But I've
Mhm.
never so I would say I was lucky and blessed to have parents that I did, because I had my father's Hebrew, and my mother is she didn't know how to read or write, but she was Latin. And so I really wasn't stuck in a church scenario, and I didn't go to the temple, right? And so I wasn't brainwashed to into religion, where I was free to kind of like see all religions. So when you just kind of have the ability to um, just believe in whatever you want to say, God, Allah, Jehovah, or whatever, right? And understand that we are just energy, and at the end of the day, there's just when you feel it, right? If you take the time to just really think about what you're saying and dig into the spiritual side of life, right? Is that there is this
Yeah.
massive energy that we all part of, and we all hurt the same, we all bleed the same, we all have the same love for our family, for our home, for our animals, and we're just like I said it the other day, like I didn't I had I probably went through, definitely has have had the worst month of my life last month, from leap year to this
Yeah, you
moment.
said, you told, yes.
That was
Yes.
terrible. I mean, it was the first time, if anybody was going to jump off a building, if anybody was going to do something to themselves, that would have been the time somebody would do it. But to me, I looked at it like I never lost faith. I knew there was a reason, and I just needed to understand the lesson, or how I got there and what it meant and where I was going. So I never wavered in my faith,
Yeah.
and I never thought there would not be a day that I would fulfill what I knew was going to happen. And what I did is, when I had that terrible situation, I just took the time to analyze what was around me and see how things played out. And at the end of it, I have to say to you, man, I mean, the worst thing in my life ended up being the greatest thing in my life. Like, honestly, it literally went from, you know, the end to the beginning, like within 7 days. And it was just a,
And
you know, people say miracles. People, I mean, whatever it is, but when you just understand that life is just a progression of lessons, and success comes from failure, and all the things that make sense, then you never have anxiety, and you never have moments in your life that you doubt. Because when people say, hey, I don't want to fail, and I just go, what do you mean you don't want to fail? The only way to be successful is to fail. Because if you think about it,
Yeah.
if you never fail, then you're not trying. And if you're not trying, then you'll never be successful. This isn't hard, right? If you don't do something to make something happen, then nothing will ever happen. So if you, you know, so if you just become a person that just puts in the effort and the work, you will get to where you're going because it's inevitable. And when you understand that and you can put that in with your energy and understand that your attitude is the only thing you can control. It doesn't matter how terrible your life is or your day is. If your attitude stays solid as armor and you just keep going with a smile and you say hi to everybody, the law of average, which
Yeah.
is positivity, will come to you. But it's your job to make sure that when that opportunity comes, you take advantage of the opportunity. And those who maximize opportunity are the winners in the race versus those who miss the opportunity. If we were both running a race and you were complaining that your shoes were coming off, but I kept running, and I just was like, well, I'm just going to get to this bus stop because I got to get there. But you spent time tying your shoe and complaining and walking. And then I make it to a bus stop and hop a bus and I get 25% of a ride and you get stuck behind, right? Was it my fault that I made the
Hmm.
bus or was it your fault that you complained about your shoe, right? Who's blessed, who's not blessed?
Mm,
It just
my
comes
fault.
down
Yeah.
to perception, right? If you just put your energy into being productive, then nobody can ever stop you because eventually hard work will overcome every obstacle, right? There's no secret to life. It's just secret to, ambition, right? Are you doing yourself a favor by getting it done or are you just giving up, right? It's your choice. Success comes from failure and failure comes from trying. That's all there is. There's really nothing else in it. So if you're going to be
Yeah.
successful, then you need to try, you know.
I see this in trading. You really need to make the trades.
Hmm.
Even you lose, you need to make the trades, and then you get better. That's
Law of average. And the
that's
sad part is you guys, when you guys talk about losses, when you guys lose trades, is because you don't follow the system that I gave you every time. Like I don't teach you to trade, I teach you to take
yeah,
profits. But you guys get so good at making profits that you keep moving the bar up. And you're like, oh, we made 50%, let's make 100.
yeah,
Oh, I did 100, let's make 200. Oh, I won 300. And then when you let it go to three and then it comes back to zero and you're like, oh, I lost that trade. No,
yeah.
you won the trade. You
Like,
just didn't
exactly,
take your
exactly.
opportunity.
Yeah,
And that is life.
every time I go back and look into the trade, I see, okay, that was my mistake. That was my mistake. Just be quiet and learn.
Just take
That's
the
how I
money.
deal with
If
it.
it's all systems and structures, right?
Yeah,
The entire thing about the trading academy is it's all you're supposed to do is do one very simple thing. Make 10 trades. 8 of them take 50% profit. After that, double your bag. So if you started with $10 a trade, 8 winning trades, 2 losing trades, 50% per trade. The next 10 trades go from $10 a bag to 20. And then those 8 in a row. Then 10 to 20. And then now you go to $40 a trade. Win 8 out of 10. 40 becomes 80. Win 8 out of 10. 80 becomes 160. Win 88 out of 10. 160 becomes, your 320, right? That's your job. The problem is that you guys
yeah,
always naturally human is you want more, you get greedy. When you don't realize that
agree.
if I'm building a house and the house is, 40 by 40 by 30, I can't say to myself, well, I want this side over here to be 60 by 40. I don't change the plan. I build the house.
Mhm.
And then after you build the house, if you want a bigger house, then build a bigger house. But the first house you have to build, you have to follow the specs. You have to follow the blueprint, right?
Yeah,
That's why I tell you guys, I'm not teaching you how to trade. I'm teaching you how to take profits. You know why? Because that's the hardest thing for you guys to do. It's just to take the money.
yeah, yeah. That's because maybe because of this, a small bull run we had.
Mm-hmm.
So the trading went up like the coins making bigger moves.
Mm-hmm.
like 10%. And if we like with the old way of working was like just take 100% on your
What?
100x, it
Mm-hmm.
was just 1% in real,
Mm-hmm.
and then you are missing the 10%, I mean 9% of the move.
Mm-hmm. And that's why
So
you have
then
the moving stop
we
losses,
we started, yeah.
right? Your
Yeah, so
job.
the moving stuff, that part I didn't apply that part. So yeah.
I mean, your job is to basically make sure that you make 50%. Then when you get to 100, 150, then you move up to 100%. Now you stay 100% behind. It gets to 200, goes to 250, you move to 150. Goes to 350, you go to 250, right? And then eventually you get stopped out, right? You guys don't move your stop losses. Or if you do move your stop loss, when it starts to come down, you're like, it's going to bounce. And then you move your stop loss all the way back to zero.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
and
know.
then
I
and
don't
then
know who
you
made
you
that
you
system
step
up, but
out
that
with
wasn't me.
nothing.
You know what I'm saying? So, I
But
mean,
then my solution is to understand the coin, the movement of coins. Some coins are moving very volatile, so you have to get the profit, on the first stop,
hmm,
and then stay back till it bottoms again.
yes.
Like this core,
Hmm.
everybody is trading this core USDT, uh, making a very crazy big moves, and
Taking
yeah,
profits and
you
dumping.
cannot say I'm going to, yeah, taking profit and dumping. Yeah, that's what they do.
That's called a channel, right? The bottom of a channel to the top of a channel, right? That's the channel is when it
Yeah,
goes from
it's
bottom to
it's working
top.
with channels. Sometimes it's also going out of the channels.
Right. So,
I
like,
have seen it many times.
so what's the ticker?
Yeah,
Is it on, what's,
core,
so CORE?
CORE. Yeah, that's the big mover.
Is this in Mexi futures?
Yeah, yeah, makes you futures even
Oh
to the
man.
100x there.
Oh my God. All right, so here. That's stupid right here. All right, so when we get in here, I mean, I don't even have all my charts set up here, but let me see if I can find.
This is like a 70% or something.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. Let me see my trading view. Why did it switch out of there? Hold on.
And Mexi doesn't, some of the coins which are volatile, they are changing the margin percentage. Like they want to kick you out quickly. But this one, they didn't change it. I mean, it's a very um, good margin.
Well, the problem is why? What happened here? Hold on. Let me make some adjustments here because I'm realizing that.
Session disconnected.
There we go. And I also need. Why is the? Hold on. Why are my? I don't know what happened here, but my indicators are all off. All right, there we go.
We log back in or something? Log out and log in?
There we go. Let's see. Oh, I need to save it here. Yeah, I don't know. I popped on, but it shouldn't be. Let me save this. All right, so Harmon should be my go-to. All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm connecting on two PCs. I know, but can you save my work. That'd be great.
You're not using Chrome of Chrome?
Nah, am I on Chrome right now? I don't think I am on Chrome.
You're in Edge.
I'm on Edge right now. There we go.
Oh, now we got the
All right, so
now we got a green moon.
yeah, now we got moons and everything. Okay, so now, all right, now we need to go to core, and everything comes down. Like I said, as long as you have your 1 hour, right? I know you guys are on core. Okay, look. So look how beautiful this is, right? This is the here's your one
Right
hour.
now, a trade is coming here.
Yeah, here's your 1 hour moon, right? Very first trade we always do is the 1 hour moon, and then we need the 1 hour trend. They're both here, right? Now you have that disappear here, and all you're waiting for is this 1 hour moon to come back because you already have the trend, right? The trend is already there. See the buy right here? I mean, look how beautiful that buy ticker is. Oh my. Now, what we want to do is once we have that all set up, the only thing that you really need to do is once you have the 1 hour moon and trend come in, is now the next thing is sit on the 15 minute, right? And the 15 minute is going to be where you make your money. So here's your 15-minute moon right here, 15-minute trend. There's a buy, and now that's running, right? And now the 15-minute moon hit again, right? So this is actually a buy right here. So your moon,
Right now is a buy. Right now.
well, you have to see this 1 hour RSI. As soon as that crosses back up and we get this moon here, that's going to be the buy zone. So right now we're just waiting for the 1 hour RSI to come back, right? We just want safety here.
Okay.
The RSI to move back up or at least go sideways, and we need this moon. So we should be sitting here. Actually, this looks crazy, so I'm going to add a moon alert here. 1 hour
So you really
moon.
need the 1 hour green moon to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You see how the RSI is bending right there? I mean, this is a. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
cost average buying, let's say you want to be, a guy who comes in here and, buys in this area here, you can get away with it here. You just got to know that you got to buy down to this 228 section. But this is starting to curl up right now, and then the 15 minute has all this space to go. So this is definitely, this has some room here. So here's the moon and the trend already there. So that already lets you know the volume's there. And now you're just waiting for the 1 hour to confirm. And you already have the 1 hour bending up here. This moon is pushing up here. Yeah, this would have been a buy at that lower level there at 229. Let me order this. Hold on. I'm actually going to buy in here. But yeah, so I mean, if you just play this and give me a second to kind of like go over the basics. But yeah, this 229 would have been the buy zone for that because you already have everything lined up there. You're just waiting for the 1 hour to bend, which it did. And I need to go to futures. There we go. We go to trade.
Are you buying it now or you wait till it
Well,
come back to 229?
I'm gonna cost average buy into here because I expect two moves, right? The two moves are as soon as I get this out of here, get rid of that, blah blah blah. Get rid of that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that trading. All right, get out of here. I'm tired of watching all that shit bullshit. All right, there we go. I hate when I go into Mexi and they give me like 1,000 banners. Plus, this is a hot coin right now, right? So this
Yeah,
hot
that's
coin, as soon as it starts bending, it's going to get real, real crazy. Oh, this thing has 125x. We're about to get crazy on this thing right now. Oh, stupid.
yeah, man. Oh, it's already pump.
Yeah,
Oh my God, this is going crazy.
that's the first push out that 15 minute. Now it's going to pull back a little. Now you got to get you have your trend in there already. I'm just trying to adjust here. I got in on that 242 mark. Let's see here.
Big.
Yada 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 yada. Move quickly. Yada 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 yada. Yeah, yeah. You should have seen that. So if you're watching a hot coin like that, look at your volume real quick, and I'll go over this in a second here. Just trying to make sure we have extra money here for the pullback. Ba 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 ba. And this already jumped up. I mean, this is already big money quickly. But when you have a hot coin and you got all these things kind of like flying, you got to look at these scenarios here. So we have this pump here, and then this is going to be a pullback. There's always a pullback in here.
Yeah, it will change moons. I think 3 minutes red moon will come back.
Mm-hmm.
It's the big moves, man.
Yeah, big moves always have pullbacks. So now we're
One 3 minute candle is 6%. You see this? One 3 minute candle is 6%.
yeah, and that was crazy, crazy hit right there. All right, let's see. Oof, those are quick profits. Hold on. Let me get into this a little bit more here. All right. So now we have two moves that are going to happen, right? You have the 15-minute moon. You needed a pop. That's what you got, right? There's your pop. Now every move has a second move, right? That's the pullback. That's going to be slight of a pullback because you already have a trend here. So it's not going to pull back as much as you think it's going to pull back. That's simply because it already has its pullback happening. So this is actually going to, sorry, I'm working two PCs here. I'm trying to make sure we take our initials out here. Make sure we get this out here. Let me change this a little bit here. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. I mean, we're up 55, 40. Damn, we just hit a profits right there. This thing is hauling right here, brother. I ain't gonna lie. 62.42. This thing is nuts. You could hit profits in one little partial candle. So we've hit 50% profits twice already.
Yeah, shit.
It's kind of ridiculous. Wow. I mean, you should be making money hand over fist with this little popper.
We
Wow.
know we
Nah,
missed it.
I
That's gonna
Uh,
pull back, right?
yeah, yeah. You have a. I mean, we're up 150. So it has the
Them is still
Jesus.
going.
Yeah, this thing's
What the
about to
hell?
he's about to run like crazy. Um, so the thing about this is, okay, so here's your earlier move, right? And this is what I want you guys to always focus on, right? Is this little area here, positive volume above the zero line, right? Notice how it hit here, and you notice how it hit there. That's where you should buy, bro. You see that, Max? Because why? You already have your 15-minute moon. You already have your 15-minute trend. Everything is your favor, and your 1 hour starting to rotate over. This is showing strength here. So remember, I was talking about you buy dips. There's entries here. There's an entry here. There's an entry here, right? And these are these entries. Entry here, and now you're locked into a great position right there, and you could crush these numbers, all right? And this already hit. This thing's up 150%, just like that. I mean, so at the end of the day, 50% on this is almost like cakewalk here. Yeah, this hit 50% 7 times already. So let's say you had $100, you're like $100, 50%. Oh, there's a pullback, $100, boom, boom, boom. I mean, you could probably sit here and crank out 30 trades for $50 in the next 2 hours instead of trying to go for 500%. This thing's about to go though.
What leverage are you looking at though? It's moving so fast that
Yeah, I'm a degen, but you guys should be 50, right? I'm max. I go 100. 'Cause as soon as I get in, I just take my profits and run. I'm not like you
All
guys.
right.
You guys like for me. Once I set in there, it's very simple. Like profit taking. Grab the profits, get out. Grab the profits, get out. Get the profits, get out. But yeah, so I mean, you have areas, and this is why you want to go back, watch the videos on the support zones, like places to buy, right? And that's what I was kind of like showing you guys when you guys were talking about different areas to make trades. I was saying like, hey, there's areas here, and these each of these areas are possibilities, right? Hold on, I'll be right back. Give me a second here.
yeah, some of these move too fast for me and I miss them.
I missed it too. It's ooh, I
And I sure can't use that
what's
much
the bug?
leverage. I'll have to do 20% leverage to make sure I kind of catch something.
Yeah, that's smart. I always tried this one with 50x, but now it was off my hands. I thought, okay, now it's
Yeah, yeah, 50x I get knocked out sometimes too fast, especially with something like this.
Where we at?
now we have to wait till it come back. I think it will make a 3 minute red moon even, and then green moon.
Yeah, I mean this thing has a lot of moves here. I mean, right now you still have this 15-minute
This
pushback.
is this is this is even crazier than the shit coins. I mean, even dog with hat doesn't make this kind of moves. Oh
Nah.
man, again. Wow, no way. Hey, ooh,
Yeah, I'm glad I've logged on.
no.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Oh man, why I didn't get it?
I mean, when you find these, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of times, guys just find these coins that are having moments and just, beat them up. It's crazy. Let me move this stop loss here.
Yeah, even look at the 1 minute, I can't tell what it's going to do. It's moving too fast.
Yeah, no, it's that's why I say like, to me it's like, take the run and then just sit back and let it reset, right? So it's not there's no shame in the game to make 150, 200% in a minute, right? Then it's like, oh, I'm done. Right? That's kind of like, the point of it. And then you let it, go through its cycle, right? So the cycle here is, the safest, like right there. So here we did 327% in what, a minute and a half?
Not me.
No.
So,
I got
so
stopped out twice.
when did you how do you do scalping on this one? So when do you start normally? Is that also the 15 minutes going down in Red Moon 15 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, so in here you got to see how the 1 hour is in your favor. There's your 1 hour pump, right? And you got your trend, so you're going to be moving quicker here. So I mean, your scalps would be, running your 3 minutes. Let the 3 minute come back down. Let's see here.
Well, it's getting pretty stable about there.
Yeah, remember people are taking profits, right? So it's like if it's running its 3 minute, you're gonna let this 3 minute RSI go back down. Get a 3 minute moon. Is this on a? Hold on, let me see. I'm on the wrong section. So is this also on a negative? Oh, you can short this too. Oh, that's stupid. Wow. You can short this too. This is fucking great. I forgot it was on futures. Did we take the 60 on? Oh, there's 75. There we go. Let's just take 85. Why be greedy? Let's go. There we go. Boom. Now we just made 85 the other direction. Stupid. Wow. Okay. Very nice. We're in live trade. And I'm going to jump into. Yeah, so right there, I mean, I would just snag the 3-minute pullback and then, let it rotate back up, go green, and get it again. That was 80 on the up, 80 on the down. Hold on. 76. Give me 1 second here. I have 76 on the down. Sexy. That's what I say, guys. The most important thing is just taking those.
I think I got about. I think I made like $4 on the down.
Yeah, just take the profits, right, and just move on. Like, all right, there was a trade, boom, done. Now let it reset, boom, done, right? Take advantage of that. Where is? I don't want that. I need this.
Did you wait for a green moon on the 3-minute again, or are you jumping in faster than that?
I'd say it's essential to wait for the 3-minute green moon, or else that's when you get wrecked.
Yeah. You want to wait for it just to rotate through, man. Safety things, because remember, like if you're working off the high, okay, remember you're doing a 1 hour trade, right? And your 1 hour moon came and already has a trend, right? So that pump is already built in there. So now we'd be looking for actually a pullback. So off this big pump here, we'd be looking at that 1 hour to start, slowing down and going back the other way, right? And then that would be when the 15 minutes starts to move and a downward movement, right? So let's see here. So we have a 3-minute right now. So the question is, does the 3-minute become a 3-minute red trend as well, right? Because I can see this being the moment that it breaks the other direction here, for sure. Because that 15 minutes already at the top there. So the 15-minute wants to play back. The 1 hour, how many times can the 1 hour, stress itself to the upside? That's the question. So this right here, I would short. I wouldn't even think about long here. And that's just because it has to have a pullback after a big pump like that, right? So you're gonna have your 3-minute pullback. You got your 15-minute, slowing down right there. I like this new 10-minute option because now you go to 10 minutes, you can see that already bent down. So the only thing it has to do here is like create a 10-minute red moon, right? Which kind of looks like it wants to do here. And let's see. It's just battling a little bit of volume here. So this is a consolidation zone, and now people have to decide, are they going to, eat up this consolidation, or they're going to take more profits here. So we'll see how they react here. Yeah, let's put an alert on the trend. There you go.
Bitcoin's looking kind of good right now. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know if it
it's
could
got a little
break
volume in
out
it.
a little bit.
Yeah, no, I was showing a little volume
But
earlier.
if it can't do anything here, then
Oh, we're still
probably
early. We're
more
still early.
down.
Yeah, we're still early. Got another 7 days.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone just paid their taxes. So it's got some space.
It's funny. I was thinking about how today, or how many other people like me got their paycheck overnight last night and then woke up and put more money into crypto. There's no way I'm the only one.
No. Everybody's looking around. I mean, I'm interested to see like, yeah, see this dump right here? Yeah, let's go. Yeah, and that's just because the volume, guys, right? So once the volume, see the 3-minute volume, like once the volume starts getting above 23, remember the magic number is the 23 line. Anytime it gets above that section there, then I look for dumps at that time because it's like overbought, but not only overbought, but like overbought like income wise. Like there's not that much more money. And sometimes I think to myself like, are there guys sitting around just playing the volume? Like there has to be a guy like me out there going, all right, this is a lot of money in here. It has to end here. And it just makes sense. Because where would the rest where's money coming from? I mean, it's not like this company has a release and it's got a new product coming out. And it's going to be the hottest selling summer gift in the world. I mean, it's just a crypto that went up in value, and that's when you sell, right? It's kind of normal. Let me go look at these consolidation zone, right? So plus you have the consolidation zone. Then if you scan that out, and I guarantee you we're at 20. Oh, look at that. Easy money, boys. See this consolidation zone? Whales, what I always tell you, bro. What I always say, young. Look at that. I always say whales start taking money at 20%. Go figure. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, you'd think the shit was mathematical. I think this is going to dump hard. The whales hit their profits. And that's where they're going to dump.
And it's because everyone's gonna try and buy this up right here, and then but the whales aren't going. There's no whales to send it back up higher.
Right, and they're not. They're going to wait
and
until it gets
that's
down to 214 again. That's the channel.
Yeah. Like over the last couple, I haven't really been trading as much as I was at one point, but like I kept seeing this happen. I was like, God, I should have just shorted that. I was like waiting for the next long. There were many times where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait next long, like to long the like later on. And then I wake up the next day and it dropped like 20%. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, they're both.
But
Yeah,
it's
always,
okay.
you got to take both.
We're getting back into it.
Both directions, bro. Both directions. That's the money. Can only go up so much. I mean, I'm the guy that watches the ups until they're all like exhausted, and I'm like, all right, let's make money. Like I love the short. I hate longs. Like they're so they're the worst trade to
I
make.
don't. Yeah,
The one thing you can guarantee is if a
I
coin goes up, it
I
comes
think the I didn't get me. Yeah, I just think I started to get too, because I would look at like previous support zones and then I'm like, oh, it can't go down that much more, right? You know, and then that's how they get you. But I didn't
Yes.
got that bad compared to how I used to. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine.
No, you just got to get into do your 1 hour trades and just take
Didn't
your
blow my
profits.
whole.
Like
I just make a quick buck with a small amount.
yeah, didn't need much, man. I just turned 100 into like $400. I only did 3 trades.
It's good for McDonald's.
Taller right now.
What's
So
up, mother chuckers?
what's up, man? But these are the channels right here. I mean, supports and resistance and areas right here. But yeah, but yeah, you gotta. I mean, just stay focused on the basics, right? Like if it, you gotta say when you learn the basic long, right? Your 1 hour, you need your 15 minute, you need your 3 minute to line up. Once you learn the long, then you'll instantly know a short. Because as soon as you see the weakness, you're like, oh, there's a weakness in this move here. And then what
You
the
you at least is it correct that I at least need to wait for the 3 minute red moon
yeah, I mean, so
when you
look at your
no?
and also your everything was exhausted there, right? And what I'm looking at is the two moves, right? So I'm always telling you like there's two moves. So if I'm looking here, right, and the first thing I want to do is I want to see a 15-minute move, right? Well, I already know the trend is here and the moon is here, right? So if the trend creates this first move, which is already here, when the moon hits, which creates this pump, there is no second move to this because it already happened. The trend already happened. So the only move that there is the downward move. So once it pumps, the only option it has is to, come down. So
Oh,
what?
because the trend was already there, the 15 minute,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got the green moon on the
Right.
15 minutes, and that's it. And
That's it.
then you go down.
Yeah.
And what if the green moon was first and then the trend was after?
Then we'd have another
Then
pump.
also you go down?
No, you'd have a push, and then
Another pump.
we'd come back. There's always a pullback, and then if there was the trend, then we'd see a pullback here, and then we would see the next move, which would be pull here, and then we would have a bounce from here because we need a trend jump. But
Yeah.
since the trend is
Yeah.
already here, then there's not going to be that jump.
This is experience, man.
Yeah, you guys know this. So we just have to redo the videos until you guys understand. That's why I spend a lot of times on the new videos explaining that there's always two moves, right? There's always a bounce and a bounce, and then a bounce, and then there's always two moves to everything, right? There's a pump, pull back, next pump, right? Pull back, next move, right? There's always two moves. And that's where you want to start seeing your entries as far as like understanding which ones we have, right? So it's very simple, right? And the very simple concept is we operate off of moons, right? And 1 hour moons and 1 hour trends, right? So you have scenarios where you have a 1 hour moon here, right? And then you have a 1 hour trend. So these are two areas that you would look for, situations that you can get into. So you buy the moon, you buy the trend, right? What happens is a moon, then a down for the trend, and then the move to the upside, right? Now, all you need in order to buy this position here is you need a 15-minute corresponding moon, right? Which would be a positive volume and a moon. And you can see you have a moon here, but you don't have positive volume at that time. So here's your moon, and then here's the positive value, right? Now, if we look closer here, and I got to make some adjustments to all my indicators now, but if you look here, you get a moon, right? But you don't have a trend until this moment here. So when that moment happens here, you have a red moon. So it pulls down, the trend turns green right here, and then you get a moon, which basically this is your point here, your entry. So the trend entry's here, the moon entry's here, and that's pretty much it. And then from there, you're locked in on your trade. And now your positive volume, you've got your pullback moment. And then when that pullback moves to the upside, that creates your trend entry right here. Literally right in that spot right there. Let me move this out of the way. You can see the different colors right there. And that's your entry. And then you can see the money line come down and start to move up right there. So that's that first move. Now the thing about that is there's always two moves, right? So there's the move from the trend, and then you can expect a pullback move right there, and that's your second entry, and there you go. And that's where you kind of like launch yourself. Push, pullback. So first entry, second entry, and then boom, you're off and running. Now, once that happens, you have momentum, right? So obviously this would have been 100% gains. It pulls back, bounces, and then it's switching again, right? So red, and you'll be out of here, and then all of a sudden, what happens? 15-minute moon, 15-minute trend. That's a fucking huge move. So, I mean, it's just understanding the entry points, right? That's what the new videos are on, are just understanding the multiple scenarios of entries that you can take advantage of. And the most important thing is that once you have the 1 hour moon and 1 hour trend, then what you need is a 15-minute moon and positive volume with the same thing: 15-minute moon, 15-minute trend, positive volume. And then you take advantage of the first hit, the second hit, and then you collect profits, and then you let it reset. And then when it comes back around, there's another hit, there's another hit, you enter here, and there's a big move again. And then you go back to your moon here, and then another moon here, and there's another entry. Then you're out again, and then another moon here, and another fucking winning trade. And then, it just kind of like, just rolls on, and then boom, another moon here, and another big ass trade. And then finally, we get to the point where the 1 hour changes direction in this zone here. And we come back around to where the 1 hour starts to pick up again. Let's see that. So you can see the 1 hour crosses over here, slows down. That would slow down your trading. You have your 1 hour red moon. We have that big pullback. And then after that happens, the RSI crosses to the upside, which is here. Money starts to push up in this zone. And since you already have the trend, right? The trend is letting you know that the volume is 50% higher than normal. So then when this money line hits the bottom with the RSI, you can take that RSI push to the top as an early entry point, because this is showing you already that it's going to pull back, but this is an area of interest. And then it pushes, pulls back, pushes, pulls back, and then that's how I could see this pattern here showing me strength, and that's why I entered right there to get this little move here, because it was inevitable that the 1 hour was going to bend here and break a moon here. So, but that's kind of like when you see it, you understand what you're looking for, then you can capitalize on what you're going for. Let's see here. So now, where's the 3 minute? So there's your 3 minute trend. Now the thing is that you have a 3 minute trend, but you already have a move from the 3 minute moon to the downside, right? So which means now that the trend comes in there, we're going to see a bounce here, and then after that bounce, if it's going to continue to the downside, then it will continue down. But there's always a bounce. So that's kind of what you're anticipating here, is that you're waiting for some type of move back up a little bit to create the momentum to the downside. And then we should see the 15-minute trend come in here and actually continue this downward move. Here's a moon. Now we need a trend, and once the trend comes in, right now we're green. We just need a red trend in the background here. And we'll take advantage of this move. But yeah, it looks good, like it wants to give up. This is giving up. Volume's coming down. So looks good for a short here. We're up 253%. 266, 270. Yeah, there's another 300% trade on there. But I think the overthinking the process is the issue. It's getting into the trades a little bit. Overthinking the entries. That's why we have the 2 entries on there. That's what the we back. And that's kind of like the process, right? So we have some videos. I'm going to cover them tonight as well, and I'll use this coin and I'll go over the basics. But it's just there's 5 to 7 trades per move that we can get into and take advantage of. And you don't have to really rush it, because you have to keep saying to yourself, like, understanding that, okay, my principal job here is to walk away with the profits that I'm supposed to walk away with, right? And that's the entire job, is to walk away with the correct profits, and that's pretty much it, right? So I think the breakdown should be, now that we're covering this, like, it's the one thing it's the only thing I talk about is taking profits, right? And then when I come back in, or if we've been on a hiatus and guys like, man, I was up 400%, but I didn't close. Like, how much? Your goal is 50. But when you have you have a moment where there is times that there are pushes, and you have bull runs, your job is to move your stop loss and stay 100% back, 50% back, and then target 300-400%, and then take it, right? And it's not to move your stop loss back because you think it's going to bounce, right? There's only so much money. And if you seriously start to think about how many times you didn't close a 100% winning trade, you probably gave away $50,000 in the last year. Not to mention, taking a loss on those. It's probably a little bit more than that. But so that's the point of the new videos that we're gonna kind of like go through before we post them.
I'm kind of like.
Go ahead, yeah.
I'm kind of moving. Well, I feel like the lower leverage, it was working for me during. I feel like low leverage long. Yeah, it can work. But I know how to trade, like, with this. Like, I can use lower leverage, but I was and letting, like, seeing a 3-minute red and then letting it ride, and then coming back down to myself, like exactly what you were just saying. And I was just getting frustrated. But I'm also very happy that I wrote in the group, I like put in $200 into Blowfin, and I was like, okay, I'm never depositing again. And I went down to $100 and back. Like, what I like about Blowfin is how they let you move how you can move your stop loss to where it's like, okay, if it goes down 1% from here, then stop me. You know, it stops you out. Like I find it easier to move my stop loss.
Yeah, I like the trailing
up.
stop loss of bluefin.
Yeah, like Mech C for whatever reason made it more tempting to just be like, okay, I'm gonna take 70. I don't know. Mech C just, I don't know if it was just having a fresh start on Blowfin or just Mech C made it more tempting to not move my. I don't know, but or it was more difficult to. But the fact that I'm like just been, even though I've been making or not making the most of my trades, I'm not losing.
Right.
I'm not losing nearly. Like I didn't fucking blow my whole account, even though the market's been like, you know, I probably could have taken advantage of all of the crazy dumps, but I didn't get completely smoked and just lose all my money like right away. So
You're learning.
and then you just are patient, and then all of a sudden I'm back to $500. So that's, and then
This is the
and we're off.
moment you have to kind of
And then
like,
yeah.
you got to sink this in. You got to sink the fact that, you know, if you're patient and you just wait 5 times a week randomly, you could have this type of moment. And if your bag is 100 or 200, it's an easy $500 day, right? If you do that for 4 weeks, you know, you can be in the 2-3 thousands where, you know, the bags can now, you know, go from that $200 bag to $400, right? And you now use profits to take advantage of that. The goal isn't to do a lot of trades. The goal is to capitalize on the trades. It's all about taking profits, you know. And
Yeah.
when if I mean, think about it. If you had $1,000 and you waited for crazy ass trades to really happen, you could take in 3, 4, 5, $6,000 on one trade. Like
Yeah.
you got to pride yourself on being the guy who takes the greatest trades. Right? I'm not here to trade. I'm here to take advantage of the trade. Like right here, I mean, I'm taking advantage of this trade. Like everyone wants it to go up, but I'm smacking this short like crazy. Like this is what I like. Right? Something that has had its big pump, had its second pump. This is the third leg of this pump on the 1 hour, and now it's, you know, it's starting to get to that, you know, the A trade. Remember we used to talk about the A trade. A trade is when the 4 hour crosses over and heads down, right? And that's the beginning of the 4 hour. Go look at core and look at the 4 hour RSI when it crossed. Look at that huge ass dump. That's the trade I like. And if I only get 2 or 3 of those a week, I mean, if you're doing a $3,000 bag, what's the difference? That's the trade you want. Right, when that 4 hour crosses.
Yeah, I was kind of like,
oof, beautiful.
Because I made some money when everything was like going up, and I just like, it was too overwhelming. So I just like I just honestly ended up withdrawing 90% of my account, which I know is the goal. But then I like think about, okay, of course my mind goes to, oh, if I had $3,000 in there, I could have made 20 grand, you know. But then I probably could have lost $1,000 just as easily. So
you have to
just got to build it back.
You got to build it back. You need to be able to have $9,000 if you want to do a $3,000 bag, right? You remember you have to have
But yeah.
You have to have backup bags in case you fuck it
right.
up.
Well, I'm saying if I had $3,000, I could have been doing like $300 bags ish, you know. But then I brought myself back down to, you know, because I was like, okay, I fucked this up so many times where I make $5,000 and then lose it. I'm just gonna fucking put it in my bank account. I'm done. Like,
yeah,
just the mental block, because I'm like, just of like, okay, could I maybe turn this into 10K? Maybe, but like, fuck it. It's like I hit a goal, so
you gotta master the 200.
Start back at 200. Yeah, start back at 200 and make the 200 into 5K again.
Right.
Oh.
Then you can take more of a risk.
Yeah.
Because you proved to yourself that you can do it twice.
Right.
and you got that extra, it's put away, right?
Yeah.
So that's a way better feeling than being broke at the end of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the process, right? That's the beauty of starting with the $200 bag again, because now you get to 5,000 again. You're like, all right, I finally understand the system, right? Because you got all year, man. Right?
Yeah.
This is a marathon, man. We're running a
I've
big
been
ass
sitting at
marathon here.
$50 for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. The thing about Young is you guys don't realize Young is taking $100 to $200 to 3-4 grand many times.
Geez, figure it out.
He
I'll
just
get it.
Yeah, he just kind of like and then he gets into he starts thinking of
10x leverage, and then I needed it, and then
different leverage, and then he's like, oh, it's got support and resistance, and then he listens to all the bullshit,
yeah.
and he's like,
And then I listened to
damn,
some other TikToker saying,
it's going to the moon,
this shit's about the moon.
right? And then he gets
But
caught up
you
in the
literally
FOMO.
called the top of Bitcoin like live. You were like, hey, guys,
Right?
this is the top.
This is the top.
And I texted my friend who like doesn't really, he has a full Bitcoin, but he doesn't really trade. And I was like, hey, you should probably take some profits. And then he calls me when it dipped below 60. He's like, what should I do?
Nothing now.
Because that's a fucking $10,000 you could have.
Right.
Yeah.
You could have just sold your Bitcoin out, bought back half at 60, and been like, oh, I'm pretty good here. And then you got opportunities. Now you got the other half sitting around going, all right, I'm gonna see if it dips, it goes up, let's see. Because we're in that scenario. Yeah, people don't understand the power of profits. Compounding is how you get rich.
But not too quickly.
No,
Don't
yeah,
fucking,
no,
I
yeah,
don't, or yeah,
yeah. You take your
the
time.
gradual compounding. Yeah.
Compounding. At the end of it, it's like you flip 200 to 5,000 3 times. Now you take 400. Now flip it to 5,000. It becomes faster, right? Until one day you're just flipping. Now you're flipping 5,000 a week because you mastered the process. And that's really all it is. It's just the process. And it's exciting. So the good news is, we'll be hopping on here. I got most of my gear back, so I'm still got to get still waiting on my warehouse to get done, and then for the most part, we should be trading every day and taking advantage of this beautiful pullback market that we got, and making that shit happen. Let's see here. But yeah, we're gonna roll through this. So we'll be hopping on, man. Let me figure out a schedule here. Probably some mornings. I just gotta kind of work around a couple. We got a lot of shit going on, but let me figure out some times that we can slide in there. I've been liking the 6 o'clock area for a couple hours, and then from there. But I want to get some mornings in, probably early, probably like the 9 o'clockers, 9 to 11 or so might be the early jump off, and then an afternoon session of just reviewing, and then we begin a little bit more time to get in there. But Young, you have to, for you got to just solidify your system, and then don't change just push the wheel. Like you got to realize, like different times. Like I know Max was like, yo, we had a bull run, a mini bull run, and I'm like, yo, it doesn't change how I trade. I just, all that happens when there's a bigger bull run is that I just know that I can move my stop loss, right? But I'm still taking the same profit. I'm still looking for the same thing. I'm still hitting on the moves. And my goal is to make my 50 to 100% per trade, right? And if we get a bull run and you can stay behind it 100% and you're sliding your stop loss and you keep going, you can get 2, 3, 400%. I mean, those are good days. You know, that's the only difference in a bull run is that we can move our stop loss and take advantage of more money. You know, and we have to understand we have to let the cycles repeat themselves no matter what, right? And that's kind of like the beauty of it, right? And you can't look at people's gains and when somebody say, "Man, look at this! I did 1,200%," and you're like, "Damn, I only did 300." And then, but what you don't realize is that that took 2 weeks for him to get there, and during those 2 weeks, you did 3,800, right? So don't get caught up in the banners. You know, anyone can buy a low position and hold it for 3 months, right? But that, you can make all that in a week. You just have to make. That's why we use leverage. Leverage is to get us in and out, and so we don't have to, hold and hodl, and we can be in a position to um, take advantage of more profits. We just have to do that. Alf, you in the building, big dog? Alfie.
Yo,
Yo, you bastard.
I'm here.
All right, so I got to jump in the thing with Alf. We got to go through over some stuff, and then so I'm gonna close out this stream here. What's up, man? Let me see that money, man.
You good?
Look at this. Look at this. Look at the crypto money. This guy right here just learned crypto. That's stupid. Like literally just learned. How long you been creating crypto? 3 days. And I got him doing like stupid, like he's over here doing Solana coins. But yeah, it's kind of dumb. So he just pulled in like like a 700-800 there in the last 2 days. Um, let me jump in here. Let me get with Alf here, and then we got to go over some things, and then I'm gonna close out the stream. You know what's so weird about touching cash? It's like I always feel like it's dirty. I just don't do cash. Ah, dirty money, dirty money out there, boys. Um, so I think let me get on the schedule wise. I think I'm liking the 9 o'clock section, and then we'll be doing some mid afternoon, and then I got to. Hey Jim, did you get through the? I gotta get Jim's gotta pop back in there, and I gotta get his videos done, and then I gotta get all the new guys set up to where we get all that handled pretty quickly. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna jump in there with Alf, and we're gonna close out this. So everybody, good luck, God bless. Glad you got in on that short. If you got in on that core short there, Max was nice enough to give us a beautiful trade that is just crushing it right now. I mean, literally, we just did another 346% on this thing. Stupid. But yeah, when you guys find a coin, like it's not, find a coin, master the moves, watch the little movements, track the times. I think I'll make a video on that a little bit more, and I think the videos are getting a little more personal, I'll say, with the guys figuring out their basics here. So, other than that, good luck, God bless, guys. Have a great day. Shout out to all the people on Twitter. Appreciate you checking in, man. Don't forget to leave a comment down below if you're interested in learning how to trade, how we make money, or the system that we do. You can always hit us up at VC Crypto Nation, VC Crypto Nation at Gmail .com, or if you're in the US, man, you can send us a text message at 331-454-2027, and we'll go from there. Other than that, thanks for the trades, man. The thing was crazy good today, Max. We're gonna be getting on a little more often here. Actually, we're going for 450. This might actually break through for 1,000%. We're gonna push out, and we're gonna start looking for 9 a.m.s and afternoon times to get into trading, and we'll go from there, guys. Appreciate it, man. If you're on Twitter, man, leave comments down below. Good luck, God bless, man. Have a great day.